What the Sigma?
Okay, well, guys, welcome everybody in the chat. Welcome to this absolutely insane lineup that we have here today. We basically got like a reverie made with just the mods on this channel, which is insane. We got like 10, 12 people here. Welcome everybody. Today we are deciphering One Piece chapter 1114. I'm here with all my channel moderators, longtime viewers of the channel. These guys are absolute homies. They've been here since the very beginning for the most part. So yeah, if you guys want to just go down the line and introduce yourself, just, you know, for anyone, obviously everyone in the chat knows you guys because you're in like every stream, but you know, I know some of you have YouTube channels. You can introduce yourself that way, plug yourself, etc. So we can start with Mark.
Okay, yeah, that was quick. Hey, yeah, I'm Tenemath. I'm basically a One Piece YouTube creator since 1 year, a bit over that. I got into this community basically because of Hidden. I even started my channel because of Hidden. So
Yeah, man.
I even got a few subscribers thanks to the man. So
Yeah,
I guess paying him like $1,000 or something like that was worth it.
No, man. I definitely I appreciate, you know, that you've been able to build your channel over this like last year or so.
Thank you, man.
It's like really cool to see, and you know,
Yeah.
especially considering that when you started watching like my streams and you were on the channel, like you hadn't made any videos on YouTube yet, and it was cool to just see you go from like your first upload to where you're at now. It's really sick, man. So yeah.
Yeah, the grind is real. One last mention though, it's important to mention also that I absolutely stomped Parvision in the last Hidden Theory.
Oh, Par, you hear that?
Hey,
He's throwing
everyone needs to
shots.
go watch that theory because I love that video.
Isn't
You
isn't
still have your
Kendrick
JPEG,
Drake?
I hope.
Oh yeah, sure, I do. Like, it's on my server on Discord.
Perfect.
All right, Atlas, want to say what's up?
What's up, everyone? My name's Atlas100. I've been following Hidden for about a year or so now, and yeah, I love One Piece. And shout out to chat. And this is going to be a good discussion. Looking forward to it, and it's going to be fun. Hoping to have a good time. Thanks for having me on, Hidden.
Big shout outs. Yeah, of course. Thanks for being here, man. You've been around for a super long time. What was the member at? I think it was like at least 12 months or something like that. So,
Yeah, almost a year, yeah.
Yeah, that's
and
insane.
I remember donating for the rap, the diss track between Blackbeard and Luffy. Yeah.
Yeah,
way
Moog
back
made a
then.
Nightcore version of that rap. I still have to upload that in like some
Really?
place.
I haven't seen that.
No, yeah, it's not uploaded. I gotta
second
put
channel.
Yeah, I gotta put that up on the second channel. But yeah, thanks for being here, Atlas. All right, Buggy.
Yo, what's going on, gang? I am Spy Schnitzel on Twitch, but you know me as Buggy Overlord on the server. I tend to come in sometimes here and there, but as a real life friend to Hidden Island and True Toby, you know, we have our discussions offline, online. Like these are my actual real homies, and I love them to death. So.
Hell yeah, man. And you also in the YouTube chat, you're also Mr. Future Singer, so people
Oh
might
yeah, I
recognize
am
you more by that. Yeah, this man is a longtime friend of mine, real life friend, known him for a long time, and he's been supportive of the channel since like literally day one. He was one of the first 10 subscribers probably. So
No G.
absolute OG. All right, next up, my man Dilcor. Hey, what's up,
You know who
Dil?
I am? Yeah, no, I'm Dilcor. I'm in chat like pretty much every stream. Probably seen me before. I got a small YouTube channel. Make videos here and there. It's called Dilcor. Go subscribe to it right now.
Yes.
And I love One Piece as well. I've been following this channel for, I don't know, probably at least since before you hit 10K. Probably in like your first 4 or 5 videos I've been around, but
I remember.
yeah,
that.
so I'm an OG. I've been here before everyone else. You already know what's going on.
Yeah, Dilcor's the man.
Flexer.
I highly recommend, if you guys haven't already, please go check out his channel and subscribe. He makes like honestly some of the most high quality videos
good.
like I've seen on the platform. Dude is a monster editor. He edits for DAC sometimes,
Hey.
and like if you see those videos, you see how they're edited. Like Dil knows what he's doing. Dude's really sick of what he does. Great channel, great videos.
Thank you, bro. Thank you.
Highly recommend checking that out. All right, so yeah, thanks for being here, brother. And next
Yeah, I
up,
appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
anytime, man. We'll be doing this more in the future, and all of you guys are, of course, always welcome here. These are the homies. So
I think I watched like an hour of footage. Like, you made an hour-long video about like a basketball manga or whatever, and I don't even care about
Dunk.
basketball, and I watched all of it.
Dunk.
Thanks for that watch time, bro.
was that Slam Dunk?
That was the
Yeah, I think
Inuit
so.
video, I think.
yeah,
Yeah,
nice,
yeah, that one.
I
absolutely.
don't think it was quite an
sick
hour,
series.
but
Kuroko no basket when?
Yeah,
Probably never.
Kuroko's solid too. Honestly, I like that series. Not as much as Slam Dunk, not even close. But all right, next up, Johannes. Welcome, brother.
Yeah, I guess I was already talking.
Yeah.
So, I'm trying to remember when I started reading. I think it was like probably around like 12, maybe.
oh, what?
Been, huh?
Just started
You said
reading in
12.
general.
No. Reading One Piece is what I'm trying to say.
I thought you were saying you were following Hidden since.
Oh,
Since he
yeah.
was 12.
Since you were
Since
12
Since I was 12 years old, right? And I'm like
No jersey.
12
no
and a half
jersey.
now.
No jersey.
No, yeah, I've been like a long time One Piece fan, and I stumbled upon Hidden's videos. I'm trying to remember, like maybe like a little after Dill probably did. Maybe like it was before you hit 15K, I think.
That's my fucking.
And yeah, so
Hell yeah, man.
I've been here since then, and I guess I was probably the last one to join the mod squad, though. Now that I think on it,
I think that might be Rubik's. Just looking at the
I'm
lineup.
not
we got
sure.
today.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was probably close.
Maybe
Yeah.
me.
Who's counting though, right?
No, I mean it's Nakama's Nakama, you know. Jinbei joined late, but he's still as valuable. I fucking that's my favorite.
But as long
strat
as everyone
after
knows,
Robert.
I'm like,
I mean, he's less important though, but he's yeah.
Well, you know, we've had to increase the amount of mods as the channel's gotten bigger. That's just like been part of the growth, which is also really cool. It's just cool to see that the fam has gotten to this size now, man. It's like, you know, when considering where we started and we had like just a handful of mods, it was just Toby and Future Singer, and like now we're all the homies are here. So it's very, I'm very humbled, honestly. Moog, my man, how's it going, bro?
Hey, what's up? I'm Moog Latan. For long, I'm the best One Piece hidden YouTube. Fucked up the introduction. Never fucking mind. All right, I'm Moog Latan. I have a channel when I remember to, and yeah, I've been around in chat quite a lot.
Yeah, my dude,
Uh-huh.
my dude has my dude has a mind for theories. Moog is always coming at me with theories. Even if I got one, he's like, no, it's got to be this. It's got to be this. So I love that. I love that about Moog. I love that anytime that there's a new event or new chapter, even if I come up with like some like theory that blows my own mind, like, you know, I'm just sucking myself off here, but like come up with like a genius theory, right? And then Moog just comes into the chat and he's like, actually, no, I got this one. Let me tell you, this shadowy figure on Egghead, that's got to be Emu. Like, I love it. I love it. No,
Right.
that's fun for me. I enjoy that. So.
Of course.
Yeah.
Glad to be here. Does my audio sound alright, by the way?
Yeah, you sound good right now.
Yeah,
Let
you
me.
sound good.
I think
Alright,
it might
cool.
be.
'Cause I'm on my phone right now.
Yeah, it might be a little loud. Let me just change that. All right, cool. We're good.
I've had to escape my house. Just
Yeah, no
Yeah.
worries, man. This is gonna be so with this stream, it's gonna be like very open. So if you guys need to hop in
Yeah,
or
sure.
out or whatever, like feel you're welcome to. It doesn't matter. But yeah, thanks for being here, bro. Reverse, what's up, my man? Reverse is also an OG. How you doing, brother?
Doing good for now.
Nice. Welcome to the stream.
Well, hi.
extremely
Hi.
ominous.
Hi. All right, Reverse. Thank you for
Happy
being here.
was.
Yeah, no, that's a man of few words. I respect it. I love it. You always have been like that, so I totally.
Good smell.
I like One Piece.
Flavor. How long have you been reading One Piece, bro?
Based.
I actually have no idea.
Has it been like most of your life at this point?
It's been way too long. It's all mixed up now.
Oh yeah.
All right, well, you've been definitely reading longer than I have. I think I got caught up in like end of Whole Cake, early Wano. So, You guys are pretty much all you guys are like I always say my sons, but you guys are actually like I'm like your sons because I've been I've been reading this for probably less than you guys have. So, all right, Rubik's, what's up, man? How you doing?
Hey, Rude Dude, otherwise known as Rubik's here. You guys can call me Michael, I guess, if anyone wants to know my real name. Yeah, I've been following the channel for a couple of years now, two or 3 years, something like that. Always good vibes, always good times. Oh, I was gonna say, I forgot. Happy Mother's Day to everybody.
Yes.
Text your mothers. Cat.
That's
For
true.
real.
Text your mom.
Yes. Happy Mother's Day.
But yeah, happy to be here, guys. Happy to talk to you. I'll probably have to hop out as well because I do need to get on the road eventually to go visit my mom later.
Yeah.
But yeah, happy to be talking with you, gents.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for being here, bro. That's actually a good consideration to make for today. Yeah, definitely. Everyone go say something nice to your mom. I sent her flowers, but yeah, do something nice for her. We'll be doing this stream.
I'm driving 2 hours to see mine. That's what she gets.
Oh, really? Yeah, that's dedication. You could be in the car in the fucking. No, don't do that. don't be in the stream while you're driving. But yeah, we're gonna make the stream like maybe a couple hours ish or so, maybe around that length, so that people have time to actually enjoy the Sunday with family. Have to take that into consideration. But yeah, thanks for being here, Rubik's. Appreciate you, bro. Otter, want to say hi?
What is up? Otter, of course. Feel like the first time I talked to Hidden was one time he was streaming Smash in the Discord. No one was in there, just popped in. We actually started talking about MF Doom
Yeah.
and Monster at the time. That was a long time ago. Honestly,
Yeah.
maybe like a year or two ago.
Yeah.
And just been around ever since. Love the vibes, of course, and love the channel. So.
Yeah. Otter's the man. Otter's the man. Every time he's been in the chats, especially with the video game streams, you've always been around for those. So I appreciate that greatly, my friend.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, man. And last up, we got Toby. What's up, my brother?
What is up?
What's going on?
Sorry. I just want to say, Dilcor said he was here before anyone, but the man himself said it was me and Mr. Future Singer first. So just want to put that out there.
Damn, shots fired.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are shots, by the way. So, and
wait for the diss track.
But yeah, no, I mean, I'm one of Hidden's IRL friends. I have this plaque on my wall that says I'm the one who got him into One Piece. So, I'll put that on my gravestone. But yeah, I mean, we're all OGs here, so we're having a good time. I think this is my second time on stream with you.
Yeah.
The real ones know I was in like the third Laugh Tail Lounge.
Yes.
That no one watched because it was the day of a reverie.
That's
Weren't
true.
you there for the fighting game stream?
Exactly.
That was the
That's
one.
it?
It was the stream where we made like a roster for a One Piece fighting game.
Best stream he ever did, by the way. Go check it out.
That was fun, man. It just happened to.
That was time ago.
Were you the guy in the video?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah, he was
Nice.
the guy in that video. It's just that that stream happened like so long ago, and it was also during a reverie, I think, or like around the time of a reverie. So
You might have been sub 10K at the time too.
no,
I
that
think.
was mad early. I think that was actually the third Laugh Tail Lounge. Can't even fucking say it. Yeah, it was the third one we ever did. It was a long time ago. But yeah, guys, Toby's the one who got me into One Piece. So if you like the channel and you like the content, yeah, you have him to thank for that because it wouldn't have happened. I was actually one of those guys that was giving shit to the series. I was like, man, it's too long. Man, I don't want to,
I read the wiki.
Yeah, I read the wiki. I watched the 4Kids, a long time ago. I wasn't into it. And he got me to really like start it again and give it a try. And here we are. So definitely, yeah, give him your thanks. All right, guys. Well, I'm glad to have all of you here. I'm glad we got the introductions done. We won't have to do that on every mod stream in the future. Just figured since this is the first one, it's good to, at least put the right foot forward with that. So now that we're all here, everyone, welcome to the stream. Today we're going to talk about, as I said, 1114, big chapter, insane chapter. So what I want to know first is from everybody, what are your surface level like reactions to the chapter? You guys saw my reaction yesterday. I want to know how you guys feel about the chapter. If anyone wants to start, I see. Let me just pick a random.
It was
person.
all right.
All right, Toby, you go ahead.
Yeah,
Start us
come on,
off.
man.
Start us
Come on,
off,
man.
man. By all means.
No, I'm shy.
All right. All right, future singer. Tell us how you felt about the chapter.
That chapter was freaking bananas, honestly. I think something that I didn't even realize until watching your reaction was that the Mother Flame was, in fact, in water.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, that is actually kind of weird. Like, why is that even happening? But overall, though, I think as we're heading closer to Elbaf, we're really coming into like full circle moments that are just gonna like happen bang after bang after bang, and I just can't wait to see that.
Yeah, bro. What do you guys think? I mean, the Mother Flame being submerged underwater. I got some thoughts on that. We'll probably get into that later, but does anyone
me
else
too.
you guys have any thoughts on that? Anyone have any theories as to
Definitely.
what that could be about?
I mean, like.
So I will
it's-
say.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, no,
go
go on.
ahead. No, you go.
All right, cool, thanks. I will say I was surprised, not like so much the Mother Flame being underwater, that is like cool and whatever. I was surprised that the Mother Flame was actually like the thing on Egghead, because I always thought the Mother Flame was the thing actually going above the sky, but I thought the power source was like something else. But for the actual Mother Flame to be on Egghead, like that to be the power source, it makes you wonder, what is the object that like killed Lucia, right?
Yeah.
Could that be Uranus? To know.
Yeah.
That's my reaction to the chapter in general. I mean, it was great. Like, I'm so glad we're sort of getting this stuff. It makes sense that, we have all of this stuff around, obviously, Gear 5 and Joy Boy, like, coming in, like, full force into the story at the end of Wano. And so it really does make sense for that to really, like, be explained in the arc right after and not have to wait, like, 2-3 arcs until we get to Laugh Tale, right? Like, for a general sort of audience, that really makes sense. And I guess we should have seen it coming, maybe. But, great chapter.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't expecting Egghead to go this far with it, Like the fact that we're getting all this now, it makes me wonder how much of Vegapunk's speech is actually gonna go off. Because, I mean, if next chapter we get a whole thing on Joy Boy, that's insane. I would not have expected that. No one was even expecting to land at Egghead, period. And now we're here, and now we're getting all this stuff that we thought we were gonna get on Laugh Tale or whatever, but we're getting it here. So, definitely crazy to think about, man.
I was kind of afraid that Oda was gonna blue ball us in the end with the whole like reveal or whatever.
There's still a chance.
But,
Might.
yeah, I mean he might, but we already got some stuff that's interesting. So
Yeah.
I guess he kind of delivered already.
Yeah.
So, but for the flame being submerged, I think, like you were talking about the whole like atom connection, right? Like
Yeah.
maybe like a parallel to nuclear power.
Yeah.
And I think in that sense it makes a lot of sense because it's the only way to like I imagine it being like some kind of eternal flame or whatever, and if you don't like isolate it using something that doesn't burn, it would just spread,
Oh,
so I feel like
an
that's
interesting idea.
Just
that's
like
the only
plutonium
way
rods,
to
right?
to contain it, in my opinion.
What was that, Mark?
Like
Yeah, just like the plutonium rods in nuclear power
Yes.
plants, right?
yeah, and like the moderation systems that are in nuclear power plants to basically like a nuclear power plant is basically on full blast all the time, but they use rods to basically slow down the reaction to manageable levels.
Yeah, almost like a stabilizer. That's how I
Yeah.
took.
So if those rods were all pulled out, it would just go like super critical instantly, basically.
Really? I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah,
But
so
I-
in my opinion, this is like kind of like that, like a moderation tool, I guess.
Yeah.
Do you think that could be connected to like the fact that the Mother Flame is submerged in some kind of liquid? Maybe it's not water. It could be something else because
Could
we
be
haven't
something
seen the
else.
color. We haven't actually seen the page get colored, but
Yeah. But I mean, it kind of makes sense, right? Like
Yeah.
to have it in something that doesn't burn is kind of the obvious choice there.
that's genius actually. And then what do you think? You think that's connected at all to like devil fruit powers in water, or like, why devil fruit powers also get, nullified in water? You think that could be related to the Mother Flame at all?
Can I say something to this?
Sure. Yeah. Go for it.
Okay. So I have two thoughts. First, what Mook said earlier, I think there could have been probably another version of this mother flame that they used to fire at Lucia, and this one is just a new one, and they basically are like batteries that they can like load into the big apparatus that they called the mother frame, or that we thought it was, to use it to shoot. And the second thought I had was, what if this mother flame is a product of the flame that the Lunarians had? Because as we know, as long as the flame's burning, they don't get any damage and all that. And seemingly all the Lunarians are gone, so maybe that's some kind of product that stems from all this. I don't know.
You know, it's funny.
Vegapunk was, yeah.
I was on a walk earlier today. I was thinking about the Lunarian thing and like, you know, the fire. I just can't help but think like, okay, we don't have the page colored in yet. We don't know what color the fire is. But like, I remember when Gear 5 first got revealed, everyone thought Luffy's head was on fire, but then it turned out to be like, you know, like white clouds, kind of something like that. So I'm wondering if maybe the mother flame also might be white and not like a normal fire. Like it could look like.
It's obviously going to be green, so Zoro can get a power up.
It's got to be green. Yeah, also for the nuclear power. It's like green. It's like radioactive. Yeah, Zoro's going to become radioactive. I mean, that hair is already. It's causing, you know, it's got some rads on it, but.
So I mean, there's also the possibility that this isn't like a nuclear fission, really. Maybe it's more like actual fusion, which is what the sun does. So, that's
flame, right?
maybe, yeah, like seems like it might be closer to it, which is also interesting because in a fusion reactor, you actually have to magnetically levitate the hot plasma so it doesn't touch and melt the walls. So that might,
okay.
That's like the explanation for the liquid, you think?
Maybe, yeah. Like why it needs to be contained, because it might just destroy the containment otherwise.
Yeah, I mean, like in general, it could just be that the liquid is there so the mother flame doesn't go completely haywire and like burn everything, right? It needs to be cooled down.
That's what I'm thinking.
Like a normal flame level. Yeah.
Like maybe that's what happens if with Lelucia, if you just let it like expand on its own or something, Like,
yeah, it has
maybe
some
it just
sort of
turns
reaction.
into a fucking enormous fireball, and
So what is
you have the atomu written on the side, right? So it could be that like the mother flame, as it is on Egghead, is like the atom by itself, and then it not being in the liquid and being like released into the world. That's how you get like a Lelucia style like nuclear explosion, where like in real life the atom. I mean, I don't know the exact science, but something happens to the atom. Something happens to the atom, right?
It's like it's like a feedback loop, basically. Like
exactly.
one thing splits and it triggers other things to split around it, and those trigger even more things splitting, etc. And if that's like a runaway reaction, I guess.
It does make sense if it is like some sort of like atomic energy or something that doesn't occur, I guess, naturally, because the fact that Vegapunk had to be the one to make it. It's not something that like you find. Like you don't find the mother flame and use it. It's not like the world government had to go out of their way to like acquire it. It's more so that Vegapunk invented it and they're looking to use it. Like they're using his technology. So
do you think he invented it, or he's taking from it from the past?
I guess yeah. I mean, it could be that too. I kind of mean like reinvent. Like the fact that Vegapunk built a machine to house the mother flame. So like if it is some sort of like fusion or nuclear, fission or whatever, he would have had to create the technology to allow for that to be possible. So it's just interesting to me that like the mother flame is something that's achieved presumably by scientific, progress and achievements. This is not something that it's not like an ancient weapon that was left over like over 800 years. It's not some piece of technology like Vegapunk had to make it. I assume, unless I don't think he found it just lying around. He had to actually make the reactor or whatever. So I could see the correlation to like nuclear based technology making sense there. The only question to me though is then how does that explain the water level rising after its use? Like what's up with that?
Okay, I mean, I have a whole like script like made on this basically that's like nearly done. Basically, like
spoil
what
it
I'll
now?
just say for now, I could do like what I'll say for now because it's too much
The
to explain.
preview.
Is that I feel like the destruction of Lelucia didn't actually directly cause the earthquake, and I think this for two reasons. On the page where this is explained, where Oda makes like a link, you know, subtly, well not subtly, but he says like perhaps the two had nothing to do with each other, but the Lelucia's destruction could have been the cause of the earthquake or something like that. I don't think that's true. I think why Oda said that is because they're both like symptoms of the Great Cleansing. So one of them is like the destruction of an island, right? And then the other one is like it's like an earthquake that rose the floods, you know, rose the sea level by 1 meter, but it didn't destroy any islands. So like put two and two together, eventually the Great Cleansing is going to be an earthquake that destroys all the islands, right? It's like both combined. But the reason I don't think it was like directly linked is because the earthquake was said to have no epicenter, right? Which if it was Lelucia that caused it, wouldn't Lelucia be the epicenter? And secondly, I've forgotten what the other one was actually. It was something about, oh yeah, like how would the destruction of Lelucia like actually cause the sea levels to rise? Because surely it's just, I mean, we know there's like a hole there left after, right? So either it would be that, you know, the seas fill in and actually the sea level goes down, or they stay as they are, which is what's happened. But like it stays the same, right? So I think the other thing was that it happened 6 days after, right? Which implies that it's not a direct cause and effect. So what I actually think is that the earthquake was caused by Emu's power, or if they are like a real demon, their demon power, like what have you. But it wasn't a direct cause by the Mother Flame, especially as, I mean, they could have had a Mother Flame in the Void Century. It's definitely possible considering they were like both equally as technologically advanced, like the Ancient Kingdom and Vegapunk, right? But I don't know. I just feel like those two things kind of make it a bit iffy.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like I'm trying to figure out how one leads to the other. Obviously there's like a lot of ways like I don't know if this works scientifically because of like how water displacement works, but just the idea that maybe there's a you know, deep in the ocean or maybe just under the surface there's you know a lot of ice or something, maybe, you know, because you know like how Ors was frozen, and like there's kind of like some implications about like Vegapunk's technology being used to like unfreeze islands and like make them more like tropical or more warm climates. So like maybe this was a problem at one point a very long time ago, like the world being frozen over or something like that. Obviously, if we're talking about like nuclear weapons, there's always the idea of like a, quote, nuclear winter, you know, like that sort of thing. So like I wonder if maybe the use of the Mother Flame is like melting some of the subterranean ice or something like that, and causing more water to like actually, you know, come up to the surface. That's something that comes to mind. I just, you know, if that's not the explanation, I'm still trying to figure out like what the correlation is there myself. But we do.
Could it also be like displacement? You know, like when you add mass to water, like the volume is gonna increase based on how much mass you're adding. You know,
right.
It's like how
Yeah.
you.
I was thinking about that too. Yeah.
Because maybe instead of the island being completely eradicated, it literally just gets pushed down into
Submerged.
the water.
Which is why that's where I was coming from the end of last chapter, where they talk about, you know, everything sinking beneath the water, right? Because as things sink, the water level's naturally going to rise.
Right.
Oh, that's interesting.
And that's kind of where, I don't know if you guys remember, but my immediate reaction coming off of 1113 was that drop the pizzas pole shift theory might be correct.
Oh yeah.
I still think it's correct. I'm still sold on that theory.
Because that had a lot to do with flooding.
Yeah, there's at least like quite a few interesting bits there that might apply, whatever it turns out to be. But I mean, I don't think ice really works unless, I mean, ice floats, right? So
yeah,
it would have to be at the surface, probably. Kind of like, I'm thinking, did we ever see like polar caps on the One Piece planet?
We haven't seen them, but we know that the North and South Pole exist.
Yeah, yeah, because Shanks and Buggy
I mean, we have
were
regular
arguing...
compasses, right?
Weren't Shanks and Buggy arguing about the North and South Pole? Like
they have a North and South Pole, obviously, but they might not be covered in ice. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's the thing, because
Because
I think it is covered. Like they have to be covered in ice, right? Because when Shanks and Buggy were arguing about the North and South Pole, wasn't
is
it an
colder.
argument about it was
right.
which is colder, right? So
Yeah, interesting. Yeah.
But I mean, that could be the twist, is that because the whole thing was they have to go there and find out, right? So they could go there and find out. It's like, oh shit, all the ice has been melted.
true, that's a good point.
Because that would increase sea levels, kind of like it does in real life.
Right. That's kind of what I heard going around after it was confirmed that it, connected the destruction of Lucia connected to the sea level rising, is that like, oh, maybe the water, just it heated up global sea temperatures, which causes, ice to melt. I'm not fully sold on that. I do think that there's like some other evidence for that. Like, for instance, we got the whole, like at the beginning of Egghead, there was a whole like superheated water current or something that brought Bonnie right to the Straw Hats.
Yep.
And that was clearly shown right after they talked about the sea level rising. So I feel like those are definitely strongly connected.
I agree.
It's just at this point, it's just like a bunch of loosely connected facts that I don't know how they fit together. Still, at this point.
Someone in chat was saying something important about this. Tyler said polar ice needs continents up there to form. That's correct, because if ice is floating and melts, it'll displace the exact same volume.
Yeah.
So it has to like melt in a way that it adds to the water. So it like it's on something,
and then it
melts and flows down it. Like
makes sense. Okay,
so,
yeah, I mean that
that's
does kind of. I gotta say I really like the idea that Toby mentioned of like, the laser just pushes the island down, like super far into the ocean, and then that's what the hole is. It just leaves a hole there, so the laser pushes it all the way to the bottom, and then that makes you think of like what happened to the ancient kingdom, right? Because now we're starting to get this idea that everything is like sunk under the ocean. The world is sinking. Wano, like old Wano, is beneath the water. All this stuff is beneath the water. So it's like it's an interesting thought that instead of destroying, like vaporizing an island, it's actually like it's like a concussive laser, like Cyclops' lasers that like shoots the island down into the bottom of the ocean and then leaves a hole there.
Do you think maybe then the red line theory can be brought back to Luffy somehow having Emu use his powers against him and pushing Marijois down to Fishman?
That'd be interesting. I don't know how that would work. Like, would it just like land on top of Fishman Island? Like, like what would?
By the nose there, right?
I wanted to bring up about the red line, like talking about the flooding of the world. I was just thinking about this. If we destroyed the red line, would that not flood the world worse? Like if all of that massive land just fell into the ocean?
Yeah, it would.
Okay. So I wonder how that's going to be resolved, or if they'll even address that.
Yeah, if the whole theory is like true and Luffy does destroy the red line, or something happens to destroy the red line, that kind of just causes the world to flood anyway. So you're right. Like, what's the
massive tsunami?
Luffy will just be like, "Fuck it, we're flooding the world."
Yeah,
I don't like this.
That's when Noah comes in.
You fishmen can have it. I'm gonna go
boats.
die now.
Everyone lives on Noah. Happily ever after.
Think about it. Everything floods and everything becomes
some tangerine trees on there. It'll be fine.
So actually, speaking of the Noah, we got a couple super chats already. Thank you, Dila Joyboy. He sent a combined $15. We got a couple questions here. So he asked, have you all talked about the Noah? I'm thinking that the Noah will be used to save the people on the surface. Doing so would repair Fishman and human relations. Well, I agree with that. The first video I ever made on the channel was about Joy Boy and the Noah and all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, like what you mentioned before,
seems
like
plausible, yeah.
Yeah, if the world does flood, the Noah might be the way to like save a lot of people, right? Like I don't know if
the fishermen don't need saving, right? If it floods, so they could just use that for other people. Yeah.
It's true. I mean, I always rationalized it as like Fishman Island is located very, very deep in the ocean, surrounded by a lot of dangerous sea life. So the fishmen would still be kind of, if they're not in Fishman Island, if they're forced out, they're still forced into like the depths of the ocean where there's all these like giant sea king anglerfish and shit like that. So
Water volcanoes and those,
yeah, it's
lots
still
of things.
dangerous. It's still dangerous for them. I don't think the fishmen, would be comfortable there. But I can see the argument that maybe the Noah is not meant for them, but meant for the humans, and the fishmen are going to be the ones to help the humans board the Noah and to help save them, and that'll repair, like Joyboy's saying, repair the relations between fishmen and humans. People might look at it like, hey, fishmen aren't so bad. Look, they saved all of us. Like, we needed them. The world is flooding. They were like the only ones that could help us in this situation. So I like that idea a lot. And the other question he mentioned was also the ice thing. Oars was frozen when found by Moria. Yes. Yeah. I mean, that's why I think the ice thing is like, there's some nods to that in the story. I just don't know if that's going to be the explanation for everything that's happening right now. I know that there's the cover story in Karakuri Island and Parvision always talks about this, how like you see the doctor, is it Dr. Tsukimi, I think, where he created the robots that were on the moon in a Nell's cover story, and it shows a view of Karakuri Island that's not frozen. But we know that now Karakuri Island is frozen. It's the island that Vegapunk was from, if I'm not mistaken. So that island is totally frozen over now. So when did that take place with the robots that went up to the moon? So that, there's also the chance that not all the islands were frozen at one point. Maybe at one point they were more temperate. So yeah, definitely an interesting point to bring up, but thank you for the super chats.
Can I say something really quick?
Yeah, go for it. Go for it,
Okay,
bro.
sorry.
Absolutely.
I got like a crazy man approach to the world flooding thing. That's kind of part of my new video. So remember when Otohime spoke about Poseidon, right?
Yeah.
And she said like when used right, like the power of love could save many people. Obviously speaking about the fishmen saving the people of the upper side with with Noah and all that. But if maliciously used, it could sink the entire world, right? So, and what I was thinking is, since Sea Kings are using the voice of all things, they are basically sensitive to it in a way. I mean, obviously they are ancient, they are old, and they know way more than we do, right? And when an entire island gets bombed to hell with the mother flame, just think about what happened with Kobe when all these people died around him in Marineford. What could that make with the Sea Kings? And if Poseidon is not stepping in and stopping them from going havoc because they're becoming crazy because so many people or life forms die around them in one moment, they might go bonkers and start doing whatever they can do to start making the world sink, right? So maybe Imu knows about that and is actively forcing them to go crazy so the world will sink. But that was just a thought.
I mean, it's always been a question for me how Poseidon can actually destroy islands, because it's Sea Kings, like, what do they take sort of bites out the bottom, And like the idea that I always came to was like, okay, they probably create big tidal waves, right? And so, I mean, if Imu does have like the voice of all things, which they probably do, because they're like final villain, possibly contender, So yeah, I mean, I could totally see that. One thing I will say about the world flooding and how it could be done is maybe it's not necessarily that the sea levels are rising, but more so that, like Vegapunk literally said, that all the islands around the world are sinking, right? So the islands are going down, but the sea is staying the same. And I mean, this ties into the whole theory I have video I'm going to make. But essentially, the idea would be that Emu has some kind of power over the Earth, and maybe can like sink islands, or even it could be that like that's how the Red Line was formed, right? Like taking a bunch, like maybe you have the idea of like Pangaea Castle, and I mean we can get onto this like later in the stream, I guess. But Joy Boy being the first pirate, how could that have happened if he was like the first one in thousands of years to take to the seas and become a pirate? Well, maybe the world used to be one continent, right? And what if the whole reason like the world is islands now is because Emu like took away like the majority of the world and like into the core of the earth, and then like through the like underwater volcanoes that we get explanations for like multiple points in the story, they made the Red Line by like spewing out this like molten earth that they'd now created, and creating the Red Line, and essentially like creating the world. I mean that I don't know, it feels like it makes the most sense to me just in terms of like the idea that the islands are sinking rather than it being the world flooding. Yeah.
I could even see the explanation just being like earthquakes are causing like the foundations of the islands to like crumble, so it's making them go
Yeah, sure.
yeah, because
I mean, Blackbeard's earthquake fruit can sink islands, right?
right. I mean,
That's correct.
it's interesting to think about, right? Because think about I love the soundboard.
Here's in
by
chat,
the way.
guys. Watch out.
Oh my god.
Wait, the islands are sinking? So I like the idea of like you know, the Sea Kings, like how did they sink an island, you know? I always imagined it as like they're just so much larger than the average island that they could, I don't know, like maybe like belly flop on top of it. Like I don't know what they're gonna do. I like the idea of them taking bites out of the bottom, but yeah, it's a good question. How do they cause an island to sink? Maybe it's related to their strength. Maybe they can pull it underwater the same way they pull the Noah. I don't know.
Or maybe they just cause like a huge
flood,
like flood wave or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
but
that would...
Otohime
what the
says
Agua Laguna is.
exclusively like could
Basically.
sink the entire world.
Yeah.
So that's not sinking one island. That's the entire world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's kind of, I mean, the island sinking and sea levels rising is kind of the same thing because one causes the other, you know? Like,
Yeah, but like
they are
one
always
island
connected.
Oh, yeah, sure. But like one would come first, right?
Yeah, but like the island sinking would also displace more water, rising, like pushing sea levels up at the same time, you know?
Might also depend on how many
Yeah,
Sea
100%.
Kings there are. Like how many Sea Kings actually are there out? Because there's a lot of water in the world. There's a lot of sea life, and there's a lot of depth to the ocean. So I'd imagine there's a lot of space for Sea Kings to be chilling. So I wonder, like, truly, how many does Shirahoshi have control of? Like, how many different giant sea beasts could she use her power for? Because we only saw the ones that were like near Fishman Island, but there's definitely more than
Probably
that.
a fucking lot, right?
Yeah.
Considering how much water there is in the world. Like,
Yeah.
it might be the strongest ancient weapon, just in terms of like mass use, you know?
Yeah, because like think about like all the other ancient weapons, if we're going by their names, probably aren't directly related to like something in the water, like Pluton and Uranus. So in a world that's mostly water, I'd imagine Poseidon is like, you know, that's a pretty broken ability.
Yeah. And there must be a shit ton of Sea Kings, because, like, I mean, they live in the calm belt or whatever, right? Mostly, it seems.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, remember that one time we saw the calm belt? Like, when they went into it?
There was like
Yeah.
five.
Was there like
right
five
there.
of them? Yeah. So, how many are there? Like,
Yeah, that's
pretty high density, if you ask me.
That's the question. That's like, okay, like that might put in perspective how powerful this ability is. Like, I'd be more willing to believe that you could sink the world with that kind of power if there were, you know, 100,000 Sea Kings out there that you could control. Like, that's pretty insane. And they're all massive. They're all, like, we saw how big they were relative to Fishman Island. Fishman Island's not a small place at all. It's a kingdom. And they were able to dwarf the entire thing, just like one of them. So
Yeah, just think about it. Like, Oda always mirrors things, right? Then we have Laboon smashing the red line with his head. Like, Oda always gives us a small thing and then gives us a way bigger thing afterwards. So now think about like thousands of these huge Sea Kings smashing the floor of the sea.
yeah.
And making like the crusts shift or something like that, which leads to an extreme flooding and all that.
That's
Maybe
why
they'll destroy the red line that way.
Yeah,
just-
exactly.
Maybe.
Yeah.
That's why I'm all about the red line idea, like them just bashing into it or destroying it or something from the bottom.
They would make a bigger difference than Laboon, for sure.
Yeah, for real.
Well, yeah, like imagine
Somewhat
like
of a
100,000
random question.
lagoons.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm done.
Go ahead, Ruben.
Oh, sorry. So much of a random question, but like, have you guys thought about why the Sea Kings only stay in the calm belt? Like, I don't have like a good idea for this other than like maybe Poseidon of the ancient time ordered them to stay in the calm belt or something like that. I don't know. It's just something I've been thinking about.
Like a
Maybe-
maybe
Zunisha
not natural, right?
Yeah.
I was actually thinking if the calm belt is caused by the Sea Kings.
Like just
Oh.
their bodies being there stopping
Right.
currents from flowing.
Kinda, yeah. Like, I mean,
There's no wind either.
wouldn't get scared of
Yeah,
them.
I mean, that's kind of a weird thing, right? But I always think like many stories have inversions like that, where you think it's A causes B, but actually it's the other way around. So maybe it's something like that.
So
Just adding on to this too,
Go
it
for
always makes me wonder what like Joy Boy was apologizing for to
Yeah.
Poseidon.
Yeah, I mean, we also need an explanation for, where the fishmen were before they were forced into that kingdom. Why the Sea Kings are able to talk and communicate with one of the fishmen. Like, what's up with that, right? Like, I think that could actually have some serious implications depending on, what happened with Zunisha, for example. Like, we have a giant, massive talking elephant, basically. And we have all these Sea Kings that seemingly have some kind of sentience. They're able to communicate with each other. They seem to have a preference for the calm belt. Like they're not wandering. At least we don't know how often they leave the calm belt. I think there's like implications, or there's points in the story where they mention that Sea Kings can show up elsewhere, but they're mostly in the calm belt. So like they seem to have some sort of rhyme to their reason. And I still don't know what exactly that could be. Like, were people transformed into Sea Kings at one point? The same way like Zunisha maybe was like a person who was turned into that giant elephant, or what's the deal with
If I could speak on that,
Yeah.
the real life equivalent of our calm belts are given the name the horse latitudes or the doldrums,
Okay.
because like back in the age of exploration, when they would hit these latitudes where there was no wind, back before there was an understanding of how air currents worked, they assumed that the reason they weren't moving, or I mean, obviously they know they're not moving because there's no wind, but in order to combat that, they would, obviously they would have horses on board, because when they would get to land, they would ride horses around. So oftentimes, to make their boats lighter, they would throw the horses overboard.
Oh.
So they would end up in those, in those parts of the ocean. So I'm wondering if, based on what you just said, where are these Sea Kings maybe someone related to Joy Boy somehow? Could they have been people that were abandoned potentially and left there?
Vanderdecken's crew that he threw overboard.
Better question, Toby. Could that be the origin of seahorses?
Yeah, probably.
Oh boy.
Hey man, wow. I never thought of that.
Could that be
That's
where
grim,
seahorses,
though.
they threw them into the water and then had them like tied to the ship? They're like, all right, take us. Like, they like have the like, all right, swim.
Evolve, damn you.
I mean, horses can swim.
I mean, I'm surprised no one ever thought of that. Or why didn't they just like
How
tie
many
some
knots
ropes to like some
is
dolphins or something?
3 horsepower.
Yeah,
See, but there are a lot of
how
sea
many
kings that resemble land creatures too. And when you bring in the idea,
Like
when you
a
bring in
bird
the
that's a
idea of
bird.
an ark too, like, with all the animals on it. I don't know.
Oh yeah, with like
That's
a
true.
cow or something, right? Like,
Yeah.
I mean, could just be like manga design, like random
Yeah.
manga designs, but also
Exactly.
it is kind of weird.
That's weird to think. Actually, I'm very interested in this idea now, because like I never really made the connection. Like, obviously, okay, it's like a giant fish thing that looks like a cow, but like I never registered how weird that is until just now. Like, why are there like land animal fish things, like hybrids like that? Why are they, like why do they exist? 'Cause-
Occam's Razor is the funny manga illustration.
That's
Yeah.
yeah.
That is the Occam's
But you
razor.
never know, right? It could also be something like Oda basically betting on us interpreting it that way, and in the end it turns out to be some like major influence on something.
Yeah. No, that's what
For
I'm
sure.
saying.
I mean, I do have a theory for this, which is that all of the it could like this is like mainly about Zunisha, but it could extend to the Sea Kings, the Sea Beasts as well. All of like the weird, like huge, unnatural creatures. We know now, I mean, it was confirmed in the recent chapter that the Ancient Kingdom, well, not like confirmed, but we can basically say for certain at this point that the Ancient Kingdom was as technologically advanced, if not more so, than like Egghead Island, than Vegapunk, right?
Yeah.
And so if Vegapunk can make, like we saw from Punk Hazard, that he can just make dragons, like he can just make, new life with assumedly like lineage factor kind of research. So like if that was what the Ancient Kingdom could do as well, could that explain Zunisha? Could that explain the Sea Kings and the Sea Beasts and all the weird like forms of life that we see? They were just made by the Ancient Kingdom, like from scratch, right?
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up because now I'm thinking about the sea beasts that were guarding Egghead Island. Like, did he also get the idea for creating those from the Ancient Kingdom? Like, maybe they didn't have mechanized, sea creatures back then, but they were able to create like organic life in that way, where they were able to make these organic sea kings like that were like fully functional.
That's basically more advanced than robots, right? Like, like the actual end game of like, I mean, we've seen this in many stories, right? Like replicants or whatever, like human synthetics or whatever.
Yeah, because what happens when you get when you get so good at creating like robots or androids, like when they become at least on the surface indistinguishable, what's the next step? The next step is to make them fully indistinguishable, like from normal life. Because like even if a scientist is able to create a robot that like looks like an animal, acts like an animal, at the end of the day, people are still going to point at that and say it's a robot. But like the ultimate proof of your genius would be able to replicate life in its entirety. So I wouldn't be surprised, like Johannes said, like the next step up is to just be able to create like biological life. What were you going to say?
We already kind of
Vegapunk can do, right?
see this.
We've seen it.
Like clones, yeah.
Vegapunk did it already.
Yeah, that's true. That's actually a good point with the Seraphim, right?
You just gotta start making chimeras now. Full metal style.
Yeah, chimeras. But that's kind of what the Sea Kings feel like, right? Because like you have, or like at least the sea beasts, like the Lord of the Coast, or like what was the cow's name? Was it Moo or some shit?
Moo,
yeah. So like, what about Moo? Like, it's like basically a chimera. Like you just take a cow and like a giant fish or a whale or something, you mix it together, and like I wouldn't be surprised if that's where it's going based on.
Yo, listen, here's how it is. Okay, I already like destroyed my head over
Solve
that.
it.
Yeah, I will solve it for you. Okay, so Hidden already mentioned it earlier, but I want to let you guys talk so I can be very smart now. So the Sea Kings, the Ancient Kingdom was very advanced, as Mook already explained, and there must be a reason why the Sea Kings listened to this one mermaid, right? So the reason for that might be that the Ancient Kingdom, they did something with the lineage factor of that original mermaid, and they created like monster forms of her, basically, that became the Sea Kings. And the only reason why these Sea Kings only listen to that mermaid is because she has that lineage factor, because it's rare, like it's her lineage factor. That's why only a mermaid in so many years comes again that has this exactly same lineage factor. That's why they listen to her. And the sea beasts, that's basically the Caesar clown of that time that wanted to make the Sea Kings too, but he hardcore failed, and that's how the sea beasts came to happen.
Yeah, I'm also thinking this is now giving me flashbacks to Bonnie with all the control over all the pacifista, right? Like, what if this was a similar situation 900 years ago where they were able to create all these Sea Kings and we're like, well, we need someone we can trust to control them. So what do? Okay, well, the ruler of all the fishmen should be the one to have the ability to, control all these sea creatures or whatever. So maybe
that's so true.
Maybe the original Poseidon, or maybe all the Sea Kings, if they were artificial, if they were created, if they were like chimeras or something, were created with a similar authority chip situation where they were forced to listen to only one individual, just like all the Kumas listen to Bonnie and all the Sea Kings have to listen to Poseidon. Maybe Egghead is showing us kind of like how ancient weapons even started, because all I've been thinking about ever since this was revealed with Bonnie was like, damn, that's incredibly busted. That's a really powerful ability. Bonnie can control every pacifista. How many pacifistas have been made? You're telling me she can control like 1,000, 10,000 of these things if they're mass produced? That's like an ancient weapon tier ability almost, like arguable.
Saturn did say that that's the ability to destroy an island, right? And what do we always hear about the ancient weapons? That they can destroy an island. It's the same like phrase being used for both of them. So yeah, 100%.
Yeah. All right,
The
so
voice of all things is just an authority chip.
yeah, right. What if that's what it is?
Yeah, that's good.
Like I wouldn't be mind blown, or rather, I would be mind blown, but I wouldn't be too shocked if it ended up being some scientific explanation, like hidden, and it's just kind of like masked as like magic, like ancient magic. But then the more we learn
Yeah.
about the past, is that it was all like a scientific,
Yeah, I mean that's the whole saying, right? Like
yeah,
that stuff's indistinguishable from magic if it's advanced enough.
yeah,
So
Yeah,
that
hockey is
could
just
be the whole
nanotech.
thing. Yeah, I mean it might not be that like rigorous scientifically speaking because it's
Sure.
supposed to be a fun story, but
Right.
Nanomachines. Son.
I don't, yeah,
it could be explained away that way, I guess.
Yeah, I don't want the nanomachines
feel like
explanation for everything. Like the Metal
Oh my
Gear,
god,
like the
it's
Metal
it's
Gear,
Star
like,
Wars all
man.
over again.
yeah.
I think it could be really advanced technology, but also not necessarily futuristic technology or like look the same as Vegapunk. Because I kind of get the impression, like, especially if we are thinking like you were saying earlier, like Vegapunk is like, trying to approximate the Sea Kings, right? And he makes his own versions of Sea Kings. And if the Sea Kings were a product of, in some way, of the Ancient Kingdom, he'd be mirroring that. But his versions are like these cyborg versions of them, right? Versus the organic, real ones. So I could still say a thing where it's like, yes, we're saying it's advanced ancient technology, but it still looks or like ancient technology, kind of similar to where we have the bird island that Chopper went to during time skip. You have these like tribes people who have bazookas. Is it that they just found the bazookas on the island? I'm still not really sure. Or is it just like this is an example of ancient version of like modern technology? Basically, they could get the same results through these means.
Yeah, I've been
I've always
about
had an inkling that Torino was kind of a representation of the ancient kingdom, like for a while, especially because like that's the island Chopper goes to, and Chopper was the guy with the human fruit. And what do we know about Joy Boy, who was central to the whole like ancient kingdom? He had the human fruit. So, well, not the same one, obviously, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've been a big proponent of like the Torino kingdom having like connections to like kind of like a microcosm situation with like the big tree and the birds that terrorize the people below and all that stuff.
The people always want their treasure.
Yeah, I definitely believe, like I agree, like maybe their technology was so advanced that it doesn't even come off as like what we would consider to be advanced technology. Like when we picture advanced technology, we're picturing machinery, robots, like all this stuff that we're seeing on Egghead. But I even since the devil fruit theory I made a while back, I was always saying like, hey, maybe the devil fruits are just like a type of advanced technology. Yeah, they look like fruits, they function, they're fruits, but through some sort of genetic modification or some sort of advanced science we don't understand, they were able to put powers into them, and then they used them for whatever reasons back then. So like, yeah, maybe the ancient kingdom wasn't very advanced, but a different take on advanced. So before we continue, I do want to get to a couple more super chats. I don't want to let these hang for too long. So let me just get to these real quick. Blue, thank you for the $10, my friend. I said Ennius Lobby equals Nevernight Island. Both holes fall sharply into the ocean. The Mother Flame and Joy Boy might have similar origins, and the islands were stretched into the bottom of the ocean. So I'm not exactly sure like what you mean by stretched into the bottom of the ocean, but I could see like some sort
of pushed, like we were talking about, maybe.
Yeah, like pushed, or like something related to that being the reason why the water doesn't just like fill the hole immediately. Like maybe the water itself is being pulled down there. So I do like that idea. Do you guys have any thoughts on that?
That was always really weird to me. Like,
yeah,
why would that be how it works?
Yeah, the only way it would work is if the hole was bottomless. Like
that's like Minecraft water, man.
Yeah, that's straight up Minecraft like physics. But yeah, thank you for the super. Dealer Joyboy with another $10. Thank you, bro. He said, with Joyboy being born into the advanced ancient kingdom, what would have driven him to become the first pirate? Why was he seeking freedom? Was he born a slave that served the ancient kingdom? Guys, do you have any thoughts on that? I'll let you guys answer this one if you have any theories.
I do. So
sure.
I do too.
I think that there's no chance that Joy Boy, in the thousands of years of like human history that we had before the Void Century, that we know about. That Joy Boy was literally the first person to ever go out to sea, or even the first person to like be considered a pirate, even if it used to be like Pangea. The first person to ever be like a maritime like robber, like however you define a pirate, right? I think there's no shot.
Rebel.
What I think this is more about is like the way Vegapunk said it was the first person to be considered a pirate. I think this is tying back to the whole idea of like in Marineford, you know, the winners make justice. Who do we know? Like the people that took over and became justice and started defining words and defining morals in the Void Century was the 20 Kings who became the world government, right? So maybe it's simply that it's not that Joy Boy was literally the first pirate, but he's the first person that the people like at the top, in this case the world government, considered to be a pirate because he was like the first, like the highest on their priority list because he was like the biggest threat to them, right? I think that's probably more likely, to be honest.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah, I do like the
maybe...
idea that like, he's kind of like a Robin Hood type figure. I take it as like being a pirate, is less to do with your behavior, like being a standard pirate, but more so like flying your own flag in opposition to the government, which raises another question of why would you, if the ancient kingdom was so great, why would you fly your own flag, right? Like, so that's something to think about. I know Reverse said you had a response to this as well. What are your thoughts, bro?
To add to what Moog said, I think it might be a labeling thing, like you said, because Nolan wasn't a pirate either. He was like, I think he was an explorer or an adventurer.
Yeah.
That was his label. So Joy Boy must have done something different that the Ancient Kingdom or whoever else labeled him that way didn't like. So which is why they labeled him a pirate.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because like, what differentiates someone like Nolan from Luffy, for example? Because on the surface, they do the same shit, right? Like Luffy is not going around pillaging and robbing people and terrorizing, islands. He's just going around. He's basically just an explorer. Luffy just goes from one place to the other, finds something cool, moves on his journey, helps people. That's what Nolan did. He just traveled around. I think the difference is ultimately with Nolan, he was flying the flag of the Livneal Kingdom or whatever it was called.
Right.
And
he was there by command of the king or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like...
They hired him for that purpose. Like they hired, Columbus in our world, like something like that. So Luffy's not being hired by anyone to do this stuff. He's just doing it on his own. He has his own flag, his own agenda. He's going from place to place for his own reasons. And I think that's what makes him a pirate in the definition, because by actions alone, they're identical. Nolan and Luffy, they do the same shit. So
nah, man, one dude
in a
pays
way
for his
that's
meals and the others doesn't.
That's true. Luffy doesn't pay for his meals. Yeah. I mean, that's that might be the distinction. Maybe the Void Century was just because Joy Boy was he was dying and dashing everywhere. And
yeah.
I mean, maybe the term pirate is just like a psyop, right? Like
yeah.
Just like labeling everyone they don't like a pirate, and that's just what it is.
Well, I mean, Hidden, this was like a huge part of your like biggest theory, right? Was like the idea of it's like a huge theme in the story of the idea between like pirates and marines being like a really thin line, and like we get this whole idea like with the warlords, with the amount of kings that become pirates or pirates that become kings or like rulers or emperors or whatever. You have the whole idea in like Punk Hazard of there's like a line at the very end of the arc. There's like a physical line drawn in the ground between the pirates and the marines who helped like free Punk Hazard, and then at the end they all just switch over, right? Like I think that's huge, and I think the world government, like the 20 Kings, were a pirate crew. Probably the world government flag was like the Jolly Roger that they had with like the key points, blanked out or whatever. So yeah, 100%. It is like to do with definitions with the Joy Boy becoming a pirate thing, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I think it's like a label. I really think it's just like a label the world government's choosing to put on people who stand against them. But then that once again, this ties back to the original question: is before the world government existed, why was Joy Boy considered a pirate, right? Like, what was he doing? What status quo exactly was he fighting, right? So that's something.
Yeah.
That's something that's still a big question mark right now, because we don't know the circumstances of the Void Century. There was that line from Vegapunk where he's like, "I'm not going to be the one to judge who's evil, who's wrong, and who's right here." So there could be, I don't know, there might be something about what happened back then that we don't know about that maybe doesn't make the Ancient Kingdom look that much better than what we have right now. And it was Joy Boy who was trying to change that for the better. He failed. The Ancient Kingdom fell, and then the world government started. you know, there's a good possibility the Ancient Kingdom was just another in this cycle of like bad leadership. You know, they weren't this paradise. It wasn't this amazing place. They could have been just a different take on a world government that was also bad, and Joy Boy rebelled against that. I don't know. Like there's a few ways it could go. So interesting.
Yeah, you could also go like the way many other sci-fi stories go.
Yeah.
Since we're talking about like highly advanced, where you have like a rebellion by their creations or something. You know?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, maybe, you know, the gods of the world back then were definitely not human. I mean, Lunarians are different from normal humans. They were considered to be the gods that lived on top of the red line or whatever. So, you know, I could see that happening too. It's like a rebellion thing. I just think that these recent chapters have been a really interesting twist on like the I don't know, the Ancient Kingdom narrative that we've had so far as a community. We've kind of like looked at it in one way, and it might be reframing that pretty soon. So
the way that I'm thinking about it, though, I just think Luffy might have just won. Not Luffy, Joy Boy might have won like a victory royale. You know?
Okay. He chug-chugged?
Yeah. He chug-jugged against Emu and the rest of all the Saints. And,
I got a chug jug right now. You can see it on the stream. I know you guys.
I'm looking at it.
All right, guys.
It would be amazing if it was something like really dumb in the end.
Yeah.
So
you can always expect a dumb answer in there somewhere.
Now that this conversation is getting very cerebral, I got a question for you guys. Let's power scale Chopper.
Oh boy!
Let's power scale. Let's try and figure out what the hell's going on with Chopper. Why is he tanking? Why is he tanking Saturn's tentacle leg thing?
Honestly, like he took at least 4 at this point, right? Like
I still want to see how hurt he is after that, because he looks.
Honestly, he's probably going to be poisoned, and that'll be like an opportunity to let him like kill himself.
He's covered in poison. Like it's got to be secreting into the fur at least.
He can make.
No, but I do like that Chopper's so tanky. You know, I like that the minor Straw Hats like Nami and Usopp and Brook are actually getting their own against Gorosei. Like I've been feeling for a while, it's been kind of a problem that maybe the Straw Hats aren't. They're kind of a bit useless. Like especially in Egghead, you know, you have the main like monster quartet or whatever you want to call it of Luffy, Zoro, Sanji, Jinbei doing everything. I really like that Chopper, like his I can't remember the name, but like the bulk form that's just able to tank a like raw attack from a Gorosei. Like that's fucking great. He'll probably be poisoned after, but you know, whatever.
He can cure it anyway. He could probably do
doctor.
something.
He'll handle himself.
Yeah, I just thought it was pretty surprising. I like now this is multiple chapters. Chopper's just tanking a fucking Gorosei.
Just getting fucking stabbed in the ass.
He's finally doing something, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look.
It's the rogues, man.
Yeah, I miss Armor Point. All right, we don't see it enough.
Yeah, that's
Man,
true.
What happened to the Beetle
whole
Point?
design,
What happened to that?
man.
Start digging some
Like-
holes, Chopper.
I keep being confused about like time skip transformation for Chopper because he got like 27 new forms and we see like 2 of them.
Did he
Yeah,
mention
and
how
he
many
doesn't
forms
need
he has?
Bubble Ball for any of them except for his big form. So it's like, why is he not busting out these forms all the time?
Did Chopper mention how many like new transformations he got back in Fishman Island? Like, did he give a number? I'm curious now.
I think it was like all of the Fishman Island transformations he has now were like upgraded forms of his original 7. I think.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I
And then
think
you
it
have
was
Monster Point.
basically the same ones,
He
but
swapped
just
something.
better and don't require Rumble Ball now.
He doesn't use them.
Like, he doesn't have Arm Point at all anymore, doesn't he?
He has Kung Fu Point now. That's new.
Yeah, he has Kung
To
Fu.
be
Point.
fair,
Yeah,
I
how
feel
is
like
Kung Fu
sucks.
Point and Arm Point? Like, go back to Arm Point, bro.
I missed the old.
I
I feel like
it's
a
new,
lot
though.
of the
Yes.
a lot of the upgrades we saw in Fishman like haven't really made a reoccurrence. It's
Right.
kind of weird.
That's what I meant. Like, I mean,
say
he's
it-
basically like
Not just from Chopper. I mean the whole crew.
Yeah, that's true. Like Usopp's moves have like, he has not done any of those plant moves like ever since, right? Like,
That wolf, that giant wolf.
Yeah, what
plant,
happened
that
to the
came out
wolf?
like one other time.
Yeah, I've been wondering like, why give Usopp all this like?
Did he ever use
versatility?
that during Wano? At
No,
all,
No.
during the fight?
No,
bro, he
no?
just uses Devil now. That's it.
I think he might have used it like one time, like maybe in Dressrosa, but yeah, I mean,
I
What do
feel
you
like
guys
there was
mean?
one
Like,
other
Chopper
time he
can
used the
become
other
a little
fishman.
grandpa now. Isn't that amazing?
True.
It's you know,
I mean,
like with
he's
Usopp,
in mascot point now.
Oda
I hate
gave
it.
our man the ability to create like any sort of weird plant thing that Oda could like imagine up. Like Usopp has all this random versatility. It's written in a way where like the dude could shoot a seed off, a pop green, and it could turn into whatever Oda wants. He could just make it turn into a plant whatever, a plant giant, a plant wolf, a plant sword. Usopp can do all this shit,
Plant
but
gun.
plant gun. He never uses it though. And it's like, why write this for him if you're not going to use it? Sorry, that's off topic. I just wanted to point that out. Didn't register with
He's
me.
saving it
like,
for the
Rob, I
father-son fight.
will be,
Father-son fight. Just wait for it.
Yeah, I hope so, bro. But I mean, look, I'll say this: I always rip on Chopper for not being able to do anything anymore and not being useful and whatever. And now he's finally doing something. So I shouldn't complain
Oda
about
read
it.
that and was like, "Hell nah."
Yeah,
I'm just gonna.
I'm gonna have
let him
Chopper.
tank.
Yeah, Chopper's gonna go from doing like next to nothing to tanking a Gorosei like overnight. So you know what? I'll take what I can get. I'm fine with it. At least he's useful.
They offer like an arm as well.
Yeah,
But since
pretty good.
since we are talking about Chopper, I can go on with my headcanon. Like, I think his final form will be Sakura Blossom Antlers.
Oh, okay.
And that's basically when he finds the cure for everything.
Okay.
Because remember when Hirolok said, like, he saw the Sakura Blossom and he got healed and all that, and how Usopp lied to his mother that on the other end of the sea there is a cure for everything and all that. So we know Usopp's lies become true every time, right?
Okay.
So far that happened.
Yeah.
We
He's
we
gonna
know
kill
that
Zoro. It's gonna happen.
Yeah, maybe, yeah. We have all these crazy Chopper transformations that become better and better. I'm lying. And then, of course, I made a video about the Baron von Münchhausen, and this is some German folk tales and all that. If you haven't seen it yet, check it out. It's one of my best videos. It popped up. But there's one thing that I mentioned very shortly in it. And Oda really used many of the stories of Baron Münchhausen, as it turned out. And one of these is that the Baron shoots like cherry stones into the forehead of a deer, and then it grows like cherry blossom antlers out of it.
Really?
And when I saw that, yeah. And when I saw that, I was like, wait, that's probably Chopper's final form. And maybe he has an Hito no Mi like Luffy too, like an ancient one or something like that. And with its power, he's really able to cure everything.
I mean, he did say in his flashback that he himself will become the ultimate cure, which kind of implies that however he does that, it's going to be something like he can transform his body in a way that like cures people somehow. So yeah, that does make sense. I mean, I've always thought it would be like his awakening, like he can make any form he wants, you know, like how he's slowly like gained more and more forms across the story. He'll be able to like eventually, I don't know, get like infinite forms and whatever disease someone has, like say someone has like diabetes or whatever. He'll be able to like make a form that has big insulin glands, and he'll be able to like something like that. He'll be able to basically like fine tune himself for any disease. But yeah,
he'll be able to cure Queen's
How would he
diabetes.
fine tune himself for the Ice Oni? Just like he would be able to make flamethrowers, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, possible.
Maybe he'll just. I mean, this is kind of boring compared to your like explanations, but I was thinking maybe he just gains the knowledge to cure everything somehow, you know. Because that would also kind of work.
I think the goal is to create a panacea. I think he wants to create a cure-all, like one thing that you can take and it cures whatever you have. So I don't know what that.
It does seem kind of like Ancient Kingdom tech.
Yeah, I mean,
like
that
magic.
would definitely be. I feel like that would have to be in a fight with Doc Q, right? If it's gonna be about curing anything, he has to fight someone who can infect you with anything.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, he's definitely either going to do his awakening or get achieve his dream in the fight with Doc Q, if not both. Because that's just set up for Chopper. You know, he's every disease. How do you beat every disease? You become every cure, right? Makes sense.
Sure, yeah.
You know, Dill,
the
I haven't
was punching him in the face. I like it.
Dill, I haven't heard from you in a minute. What are your thoughts on Chopper, bro?
I think at the end of the day, you put Chopper in a room with any top tier. I think he's coming out unscathed. He's curing that shit. No, I don't really know. Chopper is kind of useless.
I mean, armor point is getting some feats in this last chapter. I mean, for real.
Yeah, I mean,
probably survive.
I think Chopper just tanked that because he's so fat.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
Yeah, that's
Oh, the
true.
poor guy.
He's gonna have to cure his own diabetes.
I mean, Kung Fu Point is undeniably just fat.
Yeah,
Kung Fu Point it sucks.
Isn't it enough that
It really
that he
does.
smashed the shit out of
can't
the hammer? Like, isn't that enough?
I love that this is becoming a Chopper roast session. We're supposed to be talking about 11 points.
Get that Chopper. Did we ever smash something? Did we ever smash that Chopper figure?
Yeah, no. Look, I have.
Oh
Yeah,
no!
we smashed that one.
You know,
we gotta find a time to do that.
You know
I'm just saying.
You know how people put
man, leave alone.
They put the deer on the wall, like when like hunters, they put like the deer or like the head on the wall. Like this is like I got the Chopper helmet from that figure. Here, this is the last remnant of the first break week. So sorry, Chopper. I do have that though. I made sure to. It's a keepsake.
See that, guys? That shit, bro.
First and the last
that shit made me a One Piece YouTube creator. Okay.
Yeah, that was actually
that was amazing.
That was the stream that Mark found me. Actually, was the stream where we destroyed Chopper. That's
yeah,
that's
he thought you were insane.
Yeah, he's like, this guy's crazy.
He was like,
this guy's freaking crazy. What is he doing?
Yeah, no. Listen, it was like that. Like I saw your theories. I was like, man, these are great. And then I catched you like live for once. I was like, okay, what's he doing?
This guy's unhinged.
Like, yo, man, why is he doing that? Like he's so much different than from his like in his video. It's like maybe like someone should tell him that's not cool or something like that. And then Hidden just
was
like,
cool.
It's a bad, but Hidden just countered with like
very cool
fire argument. I didn't catch that he was just acting, and I was like, okay, man, touche.
It wasn't an act.
Yeah,
I mean, I was kind of like, if it was like a hand painted whatever fancy thing, then yeah, I would have been like, what the hell is this? Like, why would he do that?
Yeah,
but it wasn't. So.
It was like a 15. It was like $15. I got it at Comic-Con. I was just like walking through Comic-Con with Parvision, and I was talking to him. I was like, you know, I have this idea for a stream. I think it'd be really funny if we like put a One Piece character on trial, and like at the end of the stream, if they were found guilty, we would like smash a figure of them. And then we were walking through Comic-Con, and then we had the idea, like we came across a booth that had like One Piece figures. I saw the Chopper. I was like, oh, it's over. You got to do it with Chopper. Yo, we got
one monitor on the way.
Zoro destroyed your monitor.
Yeah, Zoro.
Yeah,
Zoro.
we
That was
lost
a
one
mistake.
monitor.
That was a mistake. Well, actually, no. So I'm not gonna say that was a mistake because it was fun. It was funny, and it was part of a good stream that was like for a good purpose. So I don't mind.
Showdown.
Yeah, the Sakura Showdown stream was great. At least the monitor didn't make it, but it was for a good cause. So he was sacrificed in battle against the Zoro fans, the fan base. He'll never be forgotten. We got a member's message from Nemphis21. I just want to shout out my goat here. He's been a member for 22 months. This is almost coming up on 2 years of being a member of this channel.
Nuts.
Absolute goat. Love this guy. Thank you, Nemphis. He said, holy shit, it's almost been 2 years. It feels like just yesterday. Been great to watch you grow, King. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that very, very much. Yeah, it's been a while, man. The channel started in August of 2021. Holy shit, indeed. It's been longer than it feels like, man. So yeah, damn, like come a long way. But yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah, there is a cool question.
I see Mr. Nine saying Chopper blocked Big Mom's blade. So that just confirms that Hidden's hammer is stronger than Big Mom's blade.
That's true. Let's power scale that now. So if Chopper can tank a Gorosei attack, and he can't tank my fucking hammer, my 5-ton hammer, rubber
Poison
mallet
hammer.
I bought from Home Depot, I think that might put me above the Gorosei in terms of power scale. I'm just gonna put that out there.
That's an anti-feat for Saturn for sure.
Yeah,
Hidden kills Kaido.
Yeah, Zoro is definitely stronger than my computer monitor. He's not stronger than me. I'm a better swordsman than Zoro. I've proven it already. I've done it more than once. I'm just saying. I'm just putting it out there. If you guys are power scaling OP tubers, just make sure to put me above Zoro and Saturn. Guys, I need to ask you a question. This chapter, we got to see the Celestial Dragons react to Vegapunk's announcement. And it seems like, based on their reaction, that they don't know what Vegapunk's talking about as much as anyone else in the One Piece world, to some degree. Like the one Celestial Dragon we saw was, I think, one of the 3 that was at Sabaody.
One of the Charlos's.
Yeah, Charlos's sister, I think. and she was not sure what the Void Sentry was. She doesn't know what the Void Sentry is about. So what do you guys?
Miosgard.
Yeah. What do you guys think of that? What do you think?
I think like they just like they don't care.
You think
Like
they
why
don't
would
care?
they care, right?
Do you think that anyone's like told them this history? Do you think you think it's that they just don't care about the history or care to learn it, or do you think the information's being withheld from them too?
I
really
wonder if
think,
like
some of the celestial dragons were going like, "Oh, shut Vegapunk up, all this," and then you cut to Shalria, who like didn't even seem to know that there was a Void Sentry. Like she doesn't even know that history is covered up, which could imply that the celestial dragons just know the events of the Void Sentry and they don't even know that it's being covered up, or that they don't even know that there is a Void Sentry and they don't know like what happened in it, right? It's either one, but either way they have like a different level of knowledge compared to the average One Piece person. It's just that it's either more or less, you know.
Yeah, because like,
some of them were saying like shut him up, but I
Yeah.
took that more as like stop this man from yapping. I don't know what this bro's talking about.
Yeah.
But it's just like they see it as an insult, even if like regardless of how much they know, right?
Yeah, it's like getting slandered live on TV.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
the
I
thing,
think you
right?
can.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, I think we did get that perspective only through that one celestial dragon, and it is like you could argue this is like the new generation of celestial dragons that are being brought up. So I kind of have a feeling because like we got the impression from like Doflamingo that he knows quite a lot and learned quite a lot by like I don't know if he went to like a library up when he was up there or something like that, or if we'll get a flashback maybe later if we do get like an Impel Down breakout, we'll get like a flashback where when he returned to Mary Jo with his dad's head, and that's when he discovered the secret of what they have in Mary Jo, and maybe that's when he might have learned some info. We also got that from Rosinante, kind of saying like, oh, we're taught about how the D's are evil, and it's kind of like, through folklore, seemingly. So I have a feeling that it's like most of the celestial dragons, like it's been an erosion of knowledge over time, and part of it is through apathy. Like I think the newer generations don't care about what came in the past, and some of them are probably learning about it for the first time. But I don't know if that means the information is literally restricted or it's just that none of them care to learn it.
Well, I think it's
probably
interesting.
both, right?
It's interesting you bring up Doflamingo because he's like one of the only celestial dragons that lived on the surface and not in Marijois. So the fact that he might be,
so he has like more real experience.
Yeah, he might have access to more sources of information about the Void Sentry than he would have if he lived up there, and that might be because. For example, the book that Dragon and Sabo and all them were reading, and Ivankov, about like how there were, the original 20 kings, and there was a Nerona emu in there and all that stuff. Maybe Doflamingo was able to piece things together based on his time on the surface. He also
One other thing I wanted to add to that though is his dad chose to be a human for a reason, and I've always assumed and thought it's because he knows the story of what happened, and like, no, we are just humans, and like he like understands that history, and that's something that the older generation celestial dragons probably know about, but they want to reject that. So like it's restricted in that it's taboo, I think, to talk about or look into, but I do think that information is available, because again, I really think that Doflamingo's dad knew about that stuff, and that's why he wanted to be a human. I don't think he just like, maybe it was just like a morbid fascination with humans. He just like, it's like, you know what? I just like the way humans live, and so that's why I want to live this way. That could be it, but I've always kind of assumed he understood like the history of where the celestial dragons came from, and that's why he made that decision.
I kind of feel
That's
like
a really good idea, because that would explain why Doflamingo like knows what he does, right? If he heard it from his dad.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so I feel like maybe what happened with Homing is that maybe he had an experience like I like the idea that he knew more than he let on, and that's why he left. I also kind of vibe with the idea that he had a similar experience to Miosgard, where he might have gone down to the surface and interacted with the people there and found that, hey, they're not so different from us. These are nice people. These are good people. Yeah, like we're the same. Right, because Miosgard kind of stood up for fishmen. He stood up for the common folk when he didn't have to, and it was all because of that one experience he had a very long time ago, and he pretty much did a full 180. I wouldn't be surprised if if given the opportunity, Mjosgard would have done something similar to Homing, maybe leave the Holy Land, maybe go try and live among other people. Like the way that he was acting, I could have seen that happening. Now he's being executed for it, unfortunately, but like, that might be the dilemma, right? You either stay and you harbor sentiments for what the Gorosei and the God Knights would consider scum, and you harbor good sentiments for them, and then you get executed for some misdeed, or you leave, you forfeit your status and go to the surface to live with them, and then you can't be prosecuted for doing something like that. You revoke your status as a celestial dragon. So it's kind of it's interesting. They kind of had similar stories and endings, right? Mjosgard came to like humans or like the surface folk and fishmen, and he gets executed for it. He gets strung up, and same thing with Homing. Goes to the surface. He likes people. They end up stapling him to the side of a building and holding up their pitchforks and all that, and then he ends up just like Mjosgard. He doesn't get killed by a human. He gets killed by a fellow celestial dragon, his own son. So they're kind of similar story beats. I think that maybe Mjosgard and Homing have similar thought processes, maybe. So
both Don Quixote's like.
I think they left because of Doofy. Sorry.
I was thinking like.
No, go ahead.
Okay, sorry, my bad.
No.
I was just trying to say, like, clearly there's like different levels of secrecy. Like, some things are obviously restricted to just Emu and the Gorosei. And I am wondering where that Void Sentry stuff would fall in that. Like, in principle, I guess it would be in Emu's interest for them to not know. To have as few people know as possible. But maybe that's impossible to do since they are all descendants of the people that did it.
Is it really beneficial to tell all these celestial dragons like the truth of the Void Century? Because I would think that having these guys just wander around as like idiots, mindless drones, not knowing the truth of things would be like way more easier to handle. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So what I'm like, to me, it feels like they are useful to have as like a lightning rod, like they are like the visible leaders or whatever, like the owners of the world, except they don't actually own or lead anything. They just exist as like a shield, kind of,
They're like a figurehead type thing.
Yeah, so like it's like a fake position, basically,
Well,
they do exist up there and they have like their own little perfect lives, but I feel like it's unlikely that they actually have any power,
Yeah. Whatever perspective they have on the history, like it has to be skewed, because otherwise, like if you take a look at Mjosgard, this guy was clearly being fed like some false story his entire life, as are all the celestial dragons. But then the moment he has like a genuine interaction with someone from, I guess you would call it the surface world, even though it's Fishman Island way at the bottom of the sea. The moment he has that interaction, his perspective kind of gets shifted rather.
Yeah, I think that this is a case of like propaganda really, warping the way people think about outsiders, because you can see that in our world too. Like, I'll just pick like a very easy example. This is not to get political, but like you have the US and China, for example, and both countries are pumping their populaces with negative sentiments about the other. One country does not let you see anything positive. They like put in front of the people's face, they'll put something that shows, hey, this other country is really bad, they're screwing you over. And then you have like, especially in China's case, they're a very isolated country, so they have a very controlled viewpoint of like what America's like, for example. And I think that's, a similar situation is happening in One Piece. We can see these examples in our real world where the government wants to portray outsiders in a certain way, and then the people that live there have only access to that information, so they have no other way to look at it besides what they're being told. So the celestial dragons might have been brought up their entire lives being convinced, yes, you are the gods of this world. Yes, we did create the world. We do have the right to all these things. These other people were made to be our slaves, like by design. You don't have to feel bad you don't have to feel bad about it. And so, you know, you have all these celestial dragons that probably view the way that they treat people and the way that they go about living their lives as rulers. They don't see a problem with it because they've been told that it's okay. They've been told by history that it's okay. Like historically, this is the right that we've been granted. We're allowed to do these things because we've earned it, and so on and so forth. And that these people are not, they're below human, they're beneath you. They're basically no different from livestock. And if they're grown up, if they grow up thinking that their entire life, they're taught that and no other viewpoint, I'm not surprised that all of them behave that way. And it's interesting now to see that now they're being exposed to the outside world more. This void century thing's coming up, which they probably didn't know about. You know, I'd imagine their history, as far as they know, is that there was no void century. It was always like this. So maybe they're learning that, hey, that's not true. We've been lied to, and that everyone else is normal just like us. So
don't they know that they have the creator's blood? Like they wear that on their sleeve, that they are the creators of the world. So I feel like they know. They have at least a Genesis story of some kind that they're taught.
Yeah, they're just
right, but they don't. They might not know that Genesis happened 800 years ago. They might not know that this happened recently, and
or what Genesis even entails.
Yeah, what led up to that?
They just say in ancient times, long, long ago, this happened.
Yeah,
our family just conquered the seas and got rid of the bad guys, and we were the good guys.
We were the OGs.
Yeah.
We were here first.
I mean, it's probably just an ignorance is bliss for all these people at the end of the day. Like, they're just being spoon-fed all these things. Like, the people at the bottom, like, those are demons. They're gremlins. Like, don't interact with them. Yeah. We don't want to.
Even humans on the surface.
If they go to the surface, a lot of times they get cheered up. You know, they're welcomed by the people there because they don't want to get annihilated.
Yeah, I mean, even the humans on the surface mistreat fishmen for, like, a lot of the same reasons, because they've been told some sort of thing about the fishmen that makes them not like them or trust them. So I think that this is just
discrimination breeds stability. I agree. Sorry.
Yeah, Green Bull. Yeah, thank you, Green Bull.
All right, here we go.
We got a super. I missed a super chat earlier. I'm sorry, Dila Joy Boy. We had a $5 super chat. I didn't get to it when we were on the topic, but let me quickly get to it now. He said, "Shouldn't Brainpoint plus Scope find the Gorosei's weakness?" I guess he's talking in regards to Chopper.
Yeah.
Scope is dead, man. Scope is long gone. It never happened, actually.
I miss Scope.
It was an illusion.
I miss Scope.
That was also like I always thought that was kind of like a cheat ability, you know? Like it just kind of gives you the answer.
Forgot about it.
It's kind of bullshit. Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's true. It is kind of bullshit. But at least in early One Piece, it was more useful because there wasn't like hockey and stuff like that. So finding a Devil Fruit user's weakness or something like that was more useful.
Like
even in early One Piece, he only uses it like twice ever.
Yeah, bro, that's true.
But it's basically what everyone
going to do. And I think that's literally it. Yeah.
Like everyone was already doing that in every fight. You know, like people are already figuring out the weakness and exploiting it. That's kind of the whole point of the fight.
Yeah, but they don't have a scope.
Yeah, that's exactly. So it's just normal fight in One Piece, I guess.
I would be happy to see
he upgraded to stethoscope. That's the evolution.
Bro, I would love that.
It's just a way for Oda to write less Chopper, you know? Just speed up the fight a bit.
Yeah, I need to go back to the red line real quick to the Celestial Dragons, because think about what happens like when the people find out the world's being flooded. Everyone will try to get to the highest place possible, and that will be the red line in Marie-Joas. So imagine what happens if all these commoners come up the red line and storm Marie-Joas and demand that the Celestial Dragons share the food with them. So that might be the reason why they are so pissed. And what I wanted to say earlier, real quick, I think the reason why they had to leave Marie-Joas was because Doofy saw something. I think actually that Doofy saw Emu in that so-called Phantom Room or whatever. Doflamingo.
Doofy. Oh, yeah. My bad, man.
Yeah, and he saw something there. Eventually, he got that's head canon of mine, of course, but like some kind of hypnotized. That's why I believe he has ringed eyes too. We never see his eyes. Why would Oda not show his eyes once if it wasn't for that reason? and that might be the reason why his family had to leave Marie-Joas ultimately.
I mean, maybe it was like a kind of a deal, like
Yeah,
you all leave or he dies or something.
Yeah, and just think about how
Maybe.
tragic that would be if Doflamingo finds out that the reason why his family had to leave Marie-Joas was because of him, because he saw something that he forgot about.
That he shouldn't have seen. Yeah, I like that idea actually. I mean, for me, Doflamingo's glasses have always just been a way to dehumanize him a little bit, like to make him less relatable, I guess, in a way. Not that he's relatable, but like putting, you know, a mask over the eyes or like something to kind of, you know, because eyes are a very human element. So him just like always having this like evil sunglass, like red lens to look at everything through, just kind of like gives him this more like inhuman or like demonic aura, because he is the heavenly yaksha, right? Like he is the heavenly demon. So like that I think was a part of his design, just purely to communicate something aesthetically, but I could see like a in-story explanation for that being given. Although personally I would prefer that it just remain an aesthetic thing, but that's just me.
I think it's just,
I mean, at the very least,
embarrassed
it
to
serves as,
show
like, really cool. Go
he
on,
he has Peckham's eyes, probably.
Be honest.
Yeah, if he has like some really funny looking eyes, that'd be hilarious.
Yeah, he's just embarrassed.
Yo, Dealer Joyboy just give another super chat.
Oh,
good question.
Word, yo, thank you for the super, bro. Thank you for the 5. He asks, how does Tequila Wolf tie into all of this? Could the completion of the bridge be the final step before the flood? That's a really, really good question. Do you guys
there
think...
to connect the Adam tree and the Eve tree? Sorry, I shut up.
Oh, you think so? You think so? Is that part of it?
Yeah,
good shout. It's a good shout.
Can you want to expand on that a little bit?
So that's something for a future video or whatever. Don't quote me on the name. There's some myth about some king or whatever that wanted to reach his beloved one, and he built a bridge over the ocean, and that's, how is it called? So and so causeway or something like that. It's in the Indian Ocean somewhere, and there's like this formation of stones. People have myths about it, that it once was a bridge or whatever. That's pretty famous actually, and yeah.
Is it Giant's Causeway? No.
No, that's something in Scotland or so.
Oh yeah, okay, my bad.
Yeah, the causeway. Yeah, I mix it up with it. I look it up once I'm done talking, and basically it's to connect two lovers, right? And since Adam and Eve were the first people, according to the Bible or whatever, that I couldn't come up with anything else. I was really thinking so hard about that stupid bridge because it makes no sense that it's there, and we never see like an accurate map where we can like think about where actually is it. And there are some people that say Tequila Wolf is an island, but as far as I understand it, the bridge itself is supposed to be the island.
Yeah.
And it's built from somewhere to somewhere. And the only reason I think that could be is to connect it, the Eve tree with the Adam tree. Why exactly? I don't know yet, but I'm thinking about it.
You know,
I will Google that other thing.
I can't help but like connect it to the red line. Like maybe it was an attempt to do what the red line did, just again. But like, you know, from a smaller king that wanted to do something similar, like had an idea, hey, what if I create a bridge that loops around the world or something? That would make my life a lot easier being king. You know, I don't know exactly how that correlates, but just the idea of like a bridge just constantly building endlessly in one direction, like where does it end, right? No one knows where it's supposed to end. Well, maybe it ends back where it started. If you just continue in the same direction, you know, endlessly, eventually you loop back around to the beginning. So it might just be like a big like loop bridge around the world, kind of, you know, maybe that's what the red line was. I don't know, but
yeah. Been under construction for like 700 years, right?
Yeah, how long has it been under construction for? Let me look that up.
700.
Pretty sure it's 700.
Really?
Yeah, it's huge.
It was commissioned by the Celestial Dragons, apparently.
Yes.
Yeah, it's huge. So they definitely made it because of they knew about the flooding, right?
Yeah, you know.
Like you can check like chapter 596 for the scale. It's huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. What? This is only 100 years after the Void Century, so this has to have been like
related.
If it was just to avoid the flooding, though, I don't think they would call it a bridge. Like, I feel like the fact that it's a bridge means that at the very least, the original intention is it was about connecting two areas. Like someone had a desperate wish to connect these areas, and I might be also avoiding the flood, you know, at the same time.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah,
The bridge over
I think the
something.
main purpose is to avoid the flood, but it could also be like eventually, like thousands and thousands of years, like they eventually plan for it to connect two places, and or maybe just like go around the entire world. But probably like the main idea is when there's eventually like another great cleansing. You know, they were planning out way ahead, and because they are the ones who control the flood, they know where it's going to rise to, so they can build the bridge just above that, right, without having to make like a floating thing. And it's probably going to be some like final thing at the end of the series where everyone, because we know it's in East Blue, right? So everyone around the world has to like migrate into Luffy's sea as they put their faith in Luffy for him to like win against Emu to stop the flood, right? And that's how the sort of the climax of the series is going to go down. That's how I see it.
You know, I just kind of had an idea. If they were, so I was reading the page on the wiki, and they talk about how it was supposed to connect various islands together, not just one, but like multiple islands were supposed to be connected by Tequila Wolf. So my thought process is
not how a bridge works.
Yeah, well, I guess it would go to one island and then leave that island and go to another
maybe.
island. But like the way I'm thinking about it is like maybe since this was only 100 years after the Void Century ended, you know, it could have been that the world was just recently flooded, and if we're going along with the idea that it was, you know, like Moog said earlier, like a Pangea situation where all the islands were at one point connected, maybe the bridge was an attempt to reconnect the islands after the flood. Like, okay, we just flooded the world, we installed a new world order, let's try and make it, let's at least try and bring the world back to what it was before we had to do this cleansing. Let's try and reconnect the islands, you know, for our own purposes. Because I'd imagine, I mean, if you're the world government, the flooding of the world is a good way to, you know, wipe out the history, wipe out people, and start with a blank slate. But I can't imagine it's convenient for them to have the world covered in water everywhere. Like, it would probably be more convenient to rule over, you know, a giant landmass than it would be a bunch of islands on a massive ocean. Because as we've seen, the ocean is very unforgiving to travel across. So, you know, creating a bridge, kind of like how Tom created the sea train, like, all might have been for the same intent of like undoing the damage that the flood caused. So that's just how I'm thinking of it right now. Like, maybe that was an intent. There was an intent behind that to undo the effects of the flood while keeping the results. So
I found the name of that thing. It's called Adam's Bridge or Rama's Bridge.
Okay.
And in Hindu mythology, as the god Rama tried to reach the island of Lanka and to rescue his wife Sita from the Demon King. Do with that whatever you want. I have not read myself further into that yet.
Yeah, no, that's an interesting. I like the Adam and Eve thing. I think that's a really cool connection there. It just depends on where those trees are located.
Do we actually know where the bridge starts? Because I'm not sure it's mentioned.
No, I think it's just we know that
we just know it's in the East Blue.
Yeah,
well,
somewhere.
Yeah, I think the fact that we don't get it mentioned, like we don't know what the 2 points either side of it are, like that's maybe meant to mean that it's not important. Like the purpose is the bridge.
Maybe.
Sort of thing.
Yeah, it's possible. I guess I was just thinking, like, maybe they don't know where they're going, but they should definitely know where they're coming from. I mean, you gotta get the materials somewhere, right? I mean...
Yeah.
That's
a good
weird.
question. Where are the materials coming? Like, are they just shipping bricks and stuff over to Tequila Wolf to help build it?
They have the brick fruit. Someone's there shitting bricks the entire time.
Since it's so like tightly controlled and stuff, you know, it could also be that everyone never leaves their section, basically, or like that you can't travel back on the bridge because there's a different set of people in charge there or something. So maybe you can't actually reach the beginning.
All along the bridge. I think they just like move the operation along where they're working.
So
but I guess I was thinking, like, maybe at the start of the bridge, there's people that supply the resources, and everyone that uses them never gets to see where they come from, you know?
Yeah, that's actually a likely possibility, too. It just, like, goes down the line, like, along the bridge. Because we know that, like, the further back you go, there's a lot of, like, abandoned camps of people that used to live there, but they had to, like, move to the front for the construction, so...
Yeah.
Could be something like that. All right, so we are...
Maybe it's not important, but I was curious.
No, I think that's a good point. Honestly, I think Tequila Wolf is going to come into relevance again before the end of the story. Maybe not in a big way, but I think that there might be some explanation given as to why it was commissioned in the first place once we learn more about the Void Century. But I do want to start to get to the end of the stream, wrap things up. So I want to kind of wrap everything up today with a question for all of you guys. I want to know what you think is going to happen next chapter once we're back from break. How far into the announcement do you think Vegapunk's going to get? Do you think it's going to get cut off? What do you think he's going to tell us about? Because we did cover pretty much everything this chapter, even the Joy Boy segment at the end of the chapter. So I want to hear your guys' opinion. Like, where does this go next? Where do we go from here? Is Egghead going to end soon? Like, what are your thoughts? I'm going to go just down the line and hear everyone's take on it. So we'll start with, top left, Marth. Tell me what your thoughts are, bro.
I think it's gonna lead into a flashback actually right now.
Okay.
But it's not gonna be a flashback like Odin's, because like we still know people that knew Odin, so naturally we are allowed to see how Odin looked and all that.
Yeah.
But we might see a flashback with like a silhouette character, and it might look like these old rubber cartoons or something like that, where Vegapunk explains there was this dude called Joy Boy, and then he's like wonkily like walking over the place or whatever, like stepping into his boat and doing all that shit, and Vegapunk's explaining what he did, why he did that, something like that.
Like a simplified version of like a silhouetted
like
version
a Nolan
of the story, like an
storybook.
explanation.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yeah, something like that. But we won't see any faces or something like that, because we have no one that knows how he looked or whatever. So I think it might look something like this, an oversimplified flashback.
Okay. All right. Cool.
Interesting idea.
Yeah, Atlas, what are your thoughts?
I think it might be either about Emu or the ancient weapons. The ancient weapons, because Vegapunk already explained why there's high levels of C, and he then explained things about Joy Boy. So the third thing, which would connect the other two, would be the ancient weapons, which may be a way of not destroying the world, but surviving the consequences of the sea rising. Like they can help out maybe in the end game. So I think Vegapunk in the next chapters will probably mention something about the ancient weapons.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I like that idea. I would be cool with him like offering some kind of solution correlated to the ancient weapons. Like, hey, you guys need these to stop this from happening, or I don't know, something like that that's going to light a fire under the world government's ass. I think that'd be really cool. All right. Future Singer, Schnitzel, Buggy, what are your thoughts?
I definitely feel the flashback is definitely coming, but at the same time, we were also shown the expansion of the clouds forming and that the ship is probably going to be falling off. So it's going to be one of those moments where it's the announcer explaining things, and it's going to finish off with Vegapunk saying something so revealing that the Gorosei can't do anything but just like completely be in shock of the revelation being announced, and that is going to be how the Straw Hats like leave, hopefully with one or two of the satellites, eventually just head to Elbaf.
Cool. Yeah, I think that the escape and journey to Elbaf is going to start very, very soon. I don't think we're going to get like an extended sequence of Vegapunk explaining things about Joy Boy, but I think next chapter might be like a focus on the real meat of the announcement, and then after that they just might get out of there. They might get on the ship and dip out of the island, because Oda's already pretty much set up the means for their escape as of this chapter, and now all that's left is just to give that final punch and then to get out. So we've already had like multiple characters. I think Dory and Bragi were saying it like, hey, there's no point in fighting, like we got to get out of here. So I think that's going to happen very soon.
Even Luffy said it himself.
Yeah, Luffy said it. Like, I think they're pretty much tapped out. They got to leave, and now the focus is just going to be on Vegapunk's announcement. So yeah, I agree there. Dill, what are your thoughts for the next chapter?
My thoughts on the next chapter. I think Zoro's gonna come in contact with the Mother Flame. He's gonna absorb it and get nuclear power.
Yeah.
And then from there, he's gonna spend the next 3 chapters just wiping out the Gorosei. Probably
One
low
by
diff,
one.
maybe mid diff with V Nusturo. And then we're gonna get off
Finally
Egghead
kill Sanji.
unscathed. Yeah, finally kill Sanji, take Luffy, kill him, collect his bounty. I think like
He's the
we're probably
pirate
gonna
hunter.
spend like the next 2 chapters getting like Vegapunk's announcement.
Yeah.
I think like their escape plan is probably not gonna work out. Like I think it's gonna fail. And then it's gonna fall on like Broggy and Dory to, you know,
help them
pull a reverse of what was it, Little Garden?
Yeah.
And then like send them off and sacrifice themselves. That's kind of where I see it going, but it could be like 4 chapters, 5 chapters, as many as like 10 chapters, but I think we're gonna be here for another couple months.
It's funny because like every time I think that it's over, it's like, oh, we only got like a couple chapters left. We end up having way more. So I'm like done making predictions about how long the arc is gonna be at this point. Like I have like my thoughts, but I'm not convinced on any length of time. But yeah.
Yeah, like I stopped doing that like halfway through Wano. I was like, all right, he's gonna keep cooking for a while. I'm not gonna bother.
Yeah.
I'm gonna sit back real quick.
We all did at the end of Wano, though. I strongly remember every single person in the community did it after Wano. It's like, how long do you think the next couple arcs are gonna be?
It's gonna be a short arc. It's gonna be 20
crazy
Really
time.
short, little bite size.
I mean, there were
like,
people thinking Elbaf was
like
next,
thing.
and that Elbaf would maybe only be 10 chapters.
Yeah. Yeah.
I heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does seem very.
No, I'm
unlikely
saying
to
back.
me now.
I'm saying this is back when we were at the end of Wano.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I'm saying like.
Oh,
Elbaf,
yeah.
I feel
No,
like
it's definitely
Elbaf
not gonna-
must be like a big one just because of all the stuff that
don't
it's
think
been
Oda
building up
can
to.
write a short arc anymore.
There's
I
no
actually
more
don't
room
know
for
Sure,
shit.
yeah.
If
maybe
it was a
that's
short
it.
arc, then he would just merge it into like a bigger arc at this point, because that's how the final.
I don't know
saga
if he
is.
can
Yeah, it's
stop
a cover
himself
story
from
at that point.
expanding the arc and making it longer. Yeah.
I genuinely think Elbaf is going to be
Oh, yeah.
shorter. I don't think it's going to be like, really short, but I think it's going to be like a Zoe-sized arc. And like you just said,
Famous last words.
I think if Elbaf's short, it's going to be for the purpose of connecting it into the rest of the final saga, the same way like Amazon Lily and Impel Down connected into Marineford. Like I think the purpose of Elbaf is not going to be to have its own contained problem. Like I don't think Elbaf is going to have a contained issue that needs to be solved on that island for 50 chapters. I feel like if anything, it's going to be, leading into whatever happens on Elbaf is going to lead into the end of the story. Especially now, as at the end of this chapter, we learn that Nika is a figure in Elbaf mythology. So the idea that Nika is the one that's going to save the world, Nika is the one that's going to, Joy Boy is going to return and all this stuff, just makes sense to me that Elbaf is going to be the segue into learning about the history, going to Laugh Tale, saving the world, because all that's related to Nika, and Nika comes from Elbaf. So that just feels to me like Elbaf's got to be a not self-contained arc. It's got to be something a little bit shorter than Egghead, and then it's going to connect into the rest. That's my take, though. But, I'm fully ready to be wrong.
I think it's gonna be the arc where everything, well, not everything, but a lot of things are gonna come in full circle. Like Nika Fable being an Elbaf. We already have the Giants meeting Luffy again. Like that's their full circle. We have Usopp getting his full circle. We have Robin meeting up with Daddy. Like, come on, bro. There's so many things that are just gonna complete it. Shanks and Luffy gonna link up.
Yeah,
Dude,
potentially.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
Shanks is gone, man.
Yeah, he left Elbaf. He left Elbaf, so I don't know if that's even gonna happen anymore. But I would love to see that reunion.
Watch. Saul went with him. He's not there either.
Yeah.
No, we saw him chilling.
No, we saw him on the.
He was chilling there. Yeah.
No, I know he saw him. We don't know where that island was though. But
That's true.
It was almost certainly Elbaf. Yes, I agree.
He doesn't like, and the trees were small as hell there. Doesn't Elbaf have like big trees?
No, they have normal
those-
size trees.
You're kind of giving me some gas here.
Not that small though. I mean,
in the Big Mom flashback,
I mean, look at.
they had normal
I'm looking
trees.
at the panel. It's not
That's
that
true.
small.
I think it's most likely a jungle in Elbaf, but I'm just saying the
They're
door's
completely
open.
average trees, guys. Come on.
Totally average.
It's 5 meters. It's big enough.
Yeah, it's not that impressive, man. Seriously, you could get by with just a normal tree. Like I don't know.
I feel like we're just like start walking around there.
And I know trees.
Come on,
I feel
like
like
Elbaf,
anything bigger would just be uncomfortable.
Yeah.
but Elbaf is Warland. Come on, man. There's war the entire time. There needs to be something that has to be solved, right?
Yeah, that's true.
But he's the
Maybe-
peaceful giant, so he's probably in a peaceful section.
He doesn't
Well,
like
yeah,
all
there's
that.
definitely going to be something to solve when they get there. Loki is going to be involved for sure.
It's
There's
like,
just no
oh
way.
shit, Nika showed up. Let's unite all the tribes or whatever. I don't know.
You know, I'm just, this is totally off topic. I'm just realizing now I got all my membership gifts refreshed. So I have 10 to give out right now. And because everyone was here for the stream, we got a lot of viewers today. I just want to show my appreciation to all of you guys. So I'm just going to hand out 10 memberships right now. Let's see who got it.
Hey, shout out to everyone in chat for being here to just talk One Piece almost every week.
Beautiful.
Let's go.
I love it. All right, 10 people
Like the
just
stream.
got membership. I see. Welcome to the Hidden Fam. Joe
Otter
D.
got
List.
one.
Yeah. Actually, get the soundboard going for this. This is good. Joe D. List. Welcome to the members. Married to not hell nah. Don't do the hell nah to that, bro.
Hell no.
Married to welcome to members.
We got Denden Kushi.
Profit, welcome
We
to
got
members.
Chatsu. We got Mimoji. We got Che Otter. We got Wax Bro.
Seal Joy
You are
welcome
my
to
son.
members. Denden Kushi.
I'm gonna do
welcome
it
to
myself.
Chatsu,
I don't need a
welcome.
soundboard.
Mimoji, say Otter. Wax, bro. Welcome
I
to
can't hear
members.
shit.
Guys, welcome to the members. Thank you so much for being here. All right, we do have to get through the rest of our predictions. So, Johannes, you're up next, brother. Tell me, what are your
Right.
thoughts on 11:15?
So I think Vegapunk's probably gonna continue a little bit. Like I feel like I'm feeling a not necessarily next chapter, but like the next few chapters. I'm feeling like I'm wondering what would have to happen for them to even be able to escape from the Gorosei as they are now.
Yeah.
You know, like what would make them not pursue them, basically.
Right. Good question.
I mean,
Wedding
maybe
cake.
they'll just be too preoccupied with the message. That could be possible. But I'm thinking there must be some kind of like grand escape going on, where they somehow get far enough away or something. So
I kind of feel
could
like they're
imagine-
preoccupied. The Gorosei are preoccupied with stopping the broadcast, right? That might be the time
Yes.
to get out.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's what I'm saying. Like when they might just be trying to stop the broadcast so hard that they aren't preventing the Straw Hats from escaping.
Yeah.
But that would be kind of like short-sighted on their part, I guess.
Yeah.
So I can imagine a sequence where we get the Straw Hats escaping while Vegapunk basically delivers the like final part of the message. Not necessarily right in the next chapter, but like the next few, I guess.
Okay.
You
All right.
know, like I could even imagine like one of those basically silent sequences where you have like I don't know, the crew shouting at each other or whatever while crazy stuff is happening,
Yeah.
and Vegapunk just delivering the final lines.
Yeah. That's what I think is going to happen too. I think the Gorosei are going to be very busy trying to find the transponder, snail, or wherever the signal's coming from, that they're not going to be able to stop the Straw Hats from getting off the island. And yeah, Vegapunk's message might be the way that they get sent off. You know, they're leaving, his message is finishing, and honestly, this is a terrifying thought, but you know, they leave the island before Vegapunk finishes the announcement, and the entire world gets to hear it, except we don't, because we're seeing it from the perspective of the Straw Hats. That would be brutal.
Oda finds a way to blue ball us
that
while
would-
telling us what's happening.
Yeah, that
I mean,
would
that's a
kill me.
perfect
Well, yeah, I
excuse for
kinda love
Elbaf
that.
to be the reveal arc.
Yeah,
Bro,
true.
I would drop
true.
One Piece.
Yeah,
I
I
hate
do
it,
the
but
same. I'd
I
drop
love
One
how
Piece
diabolical
right
that
there.
is.
I would be sad, man. Moog, tell me what your predictions and thoughts are for 11:15, bro. All right, reverse. Tell me what your thoughts. No, go
Just
ahead.
a color spread of a
Go
thought.
ahead.
You know?
No,
It's just a big ass fart. The mother fart.
Enough
Move.
said.
Mother fart.
All right, motherfucker.
So like, just real quick, I do think like I'm really bad at like giving kind of predictions for like chapter by chapter kind of thing. So as for next chapter, I have no idea. Message is going to continue, like, obviously. But like as for the arc overall, just some like points I'll rattle off. Probably I do like think the Mother Flame is going to end up like we know the Mother Flame's on Egghead now, but you know what I mean. There's going to be like a Lelucia style thing that's going to happen to Egghead that the Straw Hats are going to have to get away from, and this is going to be activated by the Gorosei so that they can like destroy the message, because they don't know where it is right now. And I think probably like Kuma's going to like reactivate at some point and like rescue everyone off the island just like God Valley, and probably like die in the process. Maybe he dies to the Mother Flame, and it's going to be, I don't think we've got long left. Like it's confirmed, I think that we're getting Elbath by November at least, from those like scheduled that thing that released on Twitter. And probably the snail is in the Iron Robot.
I like that.
That's about it. Like I've really like just got no. I'm just waiting to see Oda cook, because like historically, I cannot predict like what's going to happen in like 5 chapters from now on, right? So those are just my thoughts.
Yeah, no, there's a good thought. I'm still with the idea that Vegapunk put the transponder inside the Iron Giant at the beginning of the arc. That's why he was in there.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope that's true. That would be sick.
I mean, I think we kind of have to escape the island while shit's going down.
Yeah, of course.
Because afterwards they wouldn't be able to escape, probably.
Yeah, that's why I think they're going to be playing.
So it must be soonish, I guess.
Yeah. That's why it's got to be with like during the announcement, right? Like they got to be leaving during the announcement.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Yeah. Reverse, what are your thoughts in the future of Egghead or next chapter?
I don't think this is gonna happen, but I would really like if they give more information on Joy Boy and why he became a pirate.
Yeah.
So
I hope so.
I think there's a correlation between Joy Boy and Odin, because Joy Boy was born in I think the exact quote was he was born in a bountiful and advanced kingdom, right? That was it.
Yep.
Yeah. So I think like it was advanced because they had a lot of science and stuff, and with that came a lot of rules that needed to be abided by. I think one of those rules might have been not going out of the big continent, like not going out to sea, kind of like Odin.
Oh, I like that.
And like we get that first panel of Odin's introduction was him saying that this place is cramped.
Yeah.
And he didn't like it, so I think Joy Boy was exactly similar to that.
I like that idea a lot, actually.
And if you get a silhouetted figure of Joy Boy doing the exact same thing as Odin in that panel, I think that would be cool.
Yeah. Yeah, like they had some rule of not leaving, like not going out to sea, and Joy Boy broke that, therefore becoming the first pirate. Like that's an interesting idea, especially if it was like mostly land and not ocean at one point. They wouldn't have a reason to go out to sea as much if the world didn't look like it does now. So I like that. I think that's a cool idea. I hope this isn't another situation of Oda cliffhangering a chapter with like some sort of like, oh, I'm about to reveal some crazy info, and then next chapter it just ends up not being about that. Kind of like how 4 chapters ago it ended with the Iron Giant waking up, and then the next like 3 chapters the Iron Giant was nowhere to be found. So I hope this is not a situation.
We got one panel this time.
Yeah, we did get we got one panel. So hopefully this actually goes somewhere with the Joy Boy conversation. I would like that. Rubik's, tell me what your thoughts are, man. Where are you at with this next chapter?
Yeah, I got a lot of scattered thoughts, I feel like. So, initially, when I first read the chapter, I was thinking, okay, we're probably getting a flashback. Are we maybe even getting the Void Century flashback? But I kind of nixed that idea for a couple reasons. One, like Vegapunk saying that he only has a fraction of the truth, really. He only doesn't know the full truth. He's going to limit what he says to what he knows is to be true. So I actually really liked what Tainted Marth said earlier about having like a storybook flashback, like a incomplete flashback of some kind. Maybe even it does start like a normal flashback, but we only get like a portion of it, and then we get a little bit more in Elbath, and then we get the full thing finally once we get to Laugh Tale. That's kind of how I view it as going, because I don't see us getting like a full Void Century flashback until we actually get to Laugh Tale. I kind of think that's where that has to happen. Elbath would work. I know a lot of people think, and I think we'll get information in Elbath, but I just don't think it'll be that full thing. So in terms of next chapter, the only real prediction I'm willing to make is I think we'll get some more info on Mother Flame next chapter, since that was part of the focus here. I think next chapter we'll get probably a lot of updates. The chapter will probably go wide and cut to a lot of different people. We might cut in with some of the Straw Hats, see what's going on with the escape plan. We might even cut to like Lucci and see what happened with his after that. Probably not, but and get a little bit more of the message. But then I feel like the cliffhanger is going to be some revelation about Mother Flame. I think that's kind of where we're going. One thing I wanted to mention way back at the beginning when we were talking about the Mother Flame being in the vat is another thing that reminded me of, other than like thinking about green blood and devil fruit stuff, is, you know, I immediately thought about Vegapunk's head or brain being in a similar kind of vat. And it made me wonder if the Mother Flame is going to, in some way, have to do with memories. Because we've had memories as a big theme in this arc. Like, we had the whole thing about going into Kuma's powers, and, like, the weight of memory was, like, a big chapter. And people have theorized that Mother Flame might be, in some way, an incarnation of Will. And in that way, I could see Will being related to memory as well. So, like, if we were to get maybe a more fleshed out flashback, I could see it even being from the perspective of the Mother Flame. Like, we zoom in on the Mother Flame and there's some core memory that's still burning, and like that's where the energy is coming from. I don't know. That's very wild.
That's a cool idea.
I like the idea, of like some sort of, I don't know, like getting an incomplete story from somewhere, like some kind of memory or recounting of the story. Like, I like the idea that you mentioned, and also Marth mentioned, of like Vegapunk tells what he knows about Joy Boy's story, and we kind of get like a Nolan the Liar situation where we hear the story first, and it's not the true story, it's not the complete story, it's one version of the story based on limited info, and we get that tale of Joy Boy from Vegapunk now. And then when we actually get the true Void Century flashback, it's just like the Nolan flashback where we see what really happened. Nolan wasn't a liar. He really did discover this thing. He was a good guy. He helped the Shandians. But we don't get that from the book. We don't get any of that from the picture book. So I think that's a really, really cool way to do the Joy Boy explanation now without giving away the goose entirely in this arc. Like, I think that's a good... I think that's a really good way to do it. Yeah, like a very Nolan-esque situation. So I like that a lot.
Also goes again with the whole mirror idea, right?
Yeah, Skypiea is a microcosm of One Piece. You know, maybe that's really what's going on here. So, yeah, I like that a lot.
So just based on what you just said,
with that, guys,
sorry.
I actually do have to blast off real quick.
Okay.
So thank you for having us and inviting me here as part of the mod group, and I hope to do another stream like this again soon. I'll be listening on my phone. Peace out,
Beautiful.
guys.
Yo, peace out, bro.
Peace.
Thanks for being here, Rubik.
Yeah.
Appreciate you, man. Honestly, guys, if you like this, it seems like this stream was like, you know, a lot of you guys like this. It seemed to engage the chat a lot. We got a lot of viewers here. I'd be happy doing this like regularly. Like, if we have a new chapter that comes out, there's a lot to talk about. Like, we could just run this the very next day or like on Sundays or whatever. So I would be...
Oh boy.
I'd be totally down to make this a regular
like
thing.
Whenever there's a key chapter, just roll one of these. It'd be great.
Yeah.
We all got to be dressed in suits though too. That's a staple.
Yeah, we got to bring the suits. Yeah, I mean, like, if there's a chapter with a lot to talk about, a lot of like events, and there's probably going to be plenty of those now that where we are in the story. This will be, you know, it'll be cool to touch base as a group and like see what everyone's thinking instead of just me, you know, mouthing off for like 3 hours about nonsense. I think it'd be funner to bring you all on here and do this again. So yeah, definitely a great idea. But yeah, Otter, let's talk about next events. What do you think's gonna happen?
Yeah, I'm kind of just going based off what other people have said for the most part, because I tend to disagree. Like, overall, I think we're escaping. I think that's always been the goal for the last 10, 20 chapters. I don't think we'll see any like crazy feats, crazy fights, nothing like that.
Okay.
But I do think we're going to keep going on with the message from Vegapunk. And I think it's going to be similar to like more atmospheric for the world, like seeing other people's reactions just going on, sort of like this realization of like what Vegapunk's saying, but how that relates to common day, how these people felt when Luffy was there interacting with them, stuff like that. Or even like if I were to like throw a shot out in the woods, I think it would be maybe we see stuff from Saul actually.
Hey.
How he's interacting with the story, things like that.
Yeah, I would love to get a little bit of like a look at Saul, or maybe like, because we did get his kind of reaction to the announcement.
Yeah, kind of a little laughter, but maybe relating to O'Hara, stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm with that, man. I think if we don't get that from Saul, at the very least, the consolation is we're gonna see him soon anyway in the next arc, most likely, and he'll tell us whatever his thoughts are when we do meet him. But yeah, I'm with you. I don't think we have any like crazy fights left in the arc. I think we're pretty much done here. We just got to get out.
Yeah.
And personally, I think like the Gorosei, like they're gonna be distracted with what is currently going down. Like they have a lot of patching up they need to do, and like trying to keep things straight in just a global aspect.
Yeah. And Memoji left a member's message. Thank you. They said, I think Oda will actually be, I think Oda actually revealed when the Elbaf arc will begin, which roughly gives us an idea of how much we have left. I think we mentioned that earlier. What was it, like roughly November or something like that this year? That's supposed to happen. So, or I don't know. I don't think that's a hard time limit though. I wouldn't be surprised if we get to Elbaf this summer, by the way things are going. But
at the very least, we'll be in Elbaf by November. But we could go the next chapter, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's happening this year, that's for sure.
There might actually be like some kind of like interim set of chapters, kind of like a reverie, kind of mini, like in between thing where you just get like the impact of what happened on Egghead everywhere or something, you know?
And updates on Kobe, updates on Law, Kid, all that stuff. Yeah, I could see that happening. All right, Toby, send us off, man. Let's wrap things up.
Oh, I've been waiting to say this. So, yeah, what I'm gonna say is also kind of, some people said some similar things. I mean, it is just a chapter. There's only so much you can put into one chapter.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of great ideas shared. There's also a lot that I disagree with. I'm more for the straight and narrow. I think it's going to be a very I don't think we're going to be jumping into a flashback right next chapter.
Yeah.
I see it more as, the cloud extension was mentioned. I do think the escape is happening. I think we're going to see the Sunny leave. The last thing we saw mentioned from the Gorosei was their prerogative to eradicate all living things on the island. So I think what's going to happen is the Straw Hats are going to be escaping while the Gorosei are preoccupied, not from stopping their escape, but actually killing everyone that's still on the island. So I think the Marines are going to get wiped, and they'll deal with that like they said they would. Luffy's also last thing said was, this next move is going to work. So I would like to see War Curie actually getting duffed. And I would hope that weakens. I hope that weakens the top brass, make it so that the Gorosei are now only 4. I would actually like to see War Curie be eliminated from the move that Luffy used. I either eliminated or incapacitated. And with the Iron Giant, because they want to eradicate all living things, and they want to somehow preserve the Mother Flame. I think the Iron Giant might actually somehow take the Mother Flame from them, keep it from them. And we might see something from the Iron Giant, which actually forces the Gorosei to retreat, leaving essentially Egghead completely barren of life, because they would have eradicated everyone. The Straw Hats would have left, and the Iron Giant has the Mother Flame. In the meantime, while this is happening, I do think we're going to get that limited reveal, like you were saying. I think we're going to get a limited kind of story for the world to hear. And I don't think we're going to see anything from the Straw Hats in terms of their reaction, because they're preoccupied with escaping. In reality, they're not listening. They want to leave.
They
so I think all of that's going to be reserved for Elbath. And if this November timeline's true, potentially we get this Odin style short-term Joy Boy flashback, in the travel between Egghead and Elbath, and going out of 1115. But as for the Mother Flame, if we don't get any extra explanation about it, I do think there's something interesting when we see that the Mother Flame in a lot of ways is depicted like how like the Japanese spirit orbs, kind of like how you touched on in your yes, kind of like how you touched on in your original Devil Fruit theory.
Yep.
So, and also just like how someone, I forget who it was, sorry, mentioned Vegapunk's head being concealed or preserved. Could the Mother Flame be a piece of Nika, right? He flew too close to the sun, right? The sun god.
Ooh, yeah.
In his research of Nika, he flew too close, and now his life is over.
Interesting.
So that I'm wondering if maybe what he's going to reveal maybe just reveals his research, and then we get the full story in Elbath.
Yeah, and
that's kind of where I'm seeing it going.
It does kind of support that whole like Rome piece idea that I've always had, which is like the ancient kingdom has ties to like Greco-Roman mythology and history and culture. The Vikings in a way kind of replaced the Romans. This is a very huge oversimplification of the history, but like, after the Romans fell, it was the Germanic kingdoms that kind of came up and took their place in Europe. And it's like the Vikings came, they existed that far back, but they really reached their largest level of prominence after the Romans fell. So like the idea that, if the ancient kingdom had this Greco-Roman influence, and now Vegapunk's comparing it to like, Icarus, and the ancient weapons share the names of like Greek and Roman gods, and then the giants were the ones to carry those stories over with Nika and all that stuff. That Viking culture was the one that lived and survived and carried it on into the future. I think that's just an interesting thing to think about, that like, maybe these connections do go deeper, and it's interesting you brought up the Icarus thing. I could see that having more than just like a symbolic meaning, that there's maybe Oda's maybe hinting at more of what the ancient kingdom was like, or real world parallels, things like that. So I think that's cool. Yeah, man. So with that being said, guys, I think this is a good point in the stream to wrap things up. This was a really, really fun time. I'm sure we could have gone for like another hour or so, but it is Mother's Day, so I do want to let everyone go and, spend time with your families, do your things, all that stuff. But I just want to say to everyone that's here, all my mods, I really, really greatly appreciate you guys. You guys already know I tell you all the time, but thank you so much for being here. I would really be happy to do this more regularly when we have good chapters to talk about. Like, this is just fun. This is a good time. It's nice to be able to not have to constantly talk myself. Like, I like to just listen sometimes, and it's cool to just hear ideas I never thought of. You guys are, you guys got big brains. You guys had some great ideas to stream that never even crossed my mind. So I just want to say once again, thank you guys for being here. Your presence on the stream was very much appreciated, and we'll be doing this again for sure. So
yes, sir.
Thank you.
It was great fun.
Yes,
W in chat.
Everyone in the chat, please leave a W for all the mods. For they're always in the chat doing good work in the streams, keeping the toxicity out, keeping the chats alive and active, staying on top of things. They post my links whenever they have the chance. Like these guys are awesome. So please leave them a W. And just having the making the time to come here today. So
another
guys,
day, another victory for the OG.
Yes, sir.
Victory for the OG, guys.
Everyone in chat, sub to Muglatan.
Yeah.
He drops the best theories.
Yes,
Right,
guys.
maybe sub to Dilko, sub to everyone, sub to Tainted
Everyone
Marth,
in the
sub to
chat.
Hidden Island if you haven't already.
Tainted Marth.
Yeah,
all
sub
of
to
us.
me. Yeah, sub to Tainted Marth. Go sub to Moog. Go sub to Dilkor. I should probably, I actually don't have your guys' links in the description. So I think after the VOD's over, or the VOD's up, I'm going to upload, I'll put your links in the description so people can check you guys out. Everyone in the chat, thank you guys for being here today. Also appreciate you guys very, very much. And I hope you all have a great remainder of your weekend, great rest of your weekend, and a good week. I'll be seeing you guys on the next stream, which may be, there's no promises, but I'm trying to work out a stream where me and Morge get together and we play some Smash Brothers and talk One Piece at the same time. I'm trying to organize that. Our plan was to put that on a break week, and it looks like we got a break week this week, so that might be happening next.
Awesome.
And if not, I'll see you guys.
Shit.
Yes, I'll see you guys. I'll see you guys next time on the next chapter or the next discussion stream. And until then, have a great rest of your day, a good night, and a wonderful romance dawn. Take care, my friends. I'll see you.
Peace.
Bye, y'all. Nothing but love.
Good smell. Flavor.
We do a little trolling. It's called We Do a Little Trolling.